Hey guys, happy Saturday and happy Valentine's Day. Brought Alex Forbes, our meteorologist, up to the desk. Alex, a lot of people probably have plans coming up for the day. What can they expect? Because weather's going to play a part.
So a lot of cloud cover. I think the showers hold off until after sunset tonight for most people. Okay. So look, there is going to be some rain around before the day is over, but a majority of that comes tomorrow. We're obviously clear right now on Fox 5 Live Viper, but you look off to the west, you call your friend over in Lubbock, Texas, they go, what in the world are you talking about? It's raining, and it's that system, it's that area of low pressure that's moving towards north and central Georgia over the next 24 hours. Now, down to the south today, Houston over to New Orleans, they have a severe weather threat. In fact, look at that. There's a severe thunderstorm warning in between Dallas and Oklahoma City right now. That just popped up. But a level 2 in place from Houston over to New Orleans. And tomorrow, that shifts down to the southern parts of Georgia, northern Florida. So I think we are going to be okay from a strong storm perspective. But don't be surprised to hear a rumble of thunder or two. This morning, we are in the 40s, 44 in Atlanta, 35 in Canton, 37 in Gainesville. So that's the urban heat island effect, right? 43 in Noonan and in Thomaston, and 36 over in LaGrange. Through the day today, we are going to warm into the 50s and eventually into the 60s, mid-60s this afternoon. But notice that sun gets progressively more and more covered up, right? So you're going to be looking at increasing clouds through the day with the rain holding off until this evening. I'm looking for 61 in Canton today, 60 over in Gainesville, 63 in Athens, Eatonton, 62 in Griffin, and 61 in Carrollton. So let's time this out. That's what we've got going on back into Oklahoma and Texas. Notice 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, you start to get some green across parts of northern Georgia, right? Over towards really the metro area. Meanwhile, the main event is still back into parts of Arkansas and Louisiana. Play this forward. There we go to Sunday, 8 a.m. So this is about this time tomorrow morning. Already getting some steady rain in parts of the metro. And then into the mid-afternoon hours, that line comes through. Again, couple rumbles of thunder, but not severe, with some wraparound moisture for the late afternoon. So really 2 waves of rain I'm looking for in mid-morning and then late afternoon, early evening. You add it all up, this is what we end up with. Maybe 1 or 2 spots over an inch, but we need a lot more than that to put a dent in this drought situation we've been facing across the metro area. Now, we are 34 days away from spring, but it is going to be feeling a lot like spring the week ahead. 63 today, 61 tomorrow, even with the rain. 67 there for President's Day. Many kids off of school on Monday. Weather's going to be pretty nice for it. And then we get into the mid-70s for Thursday and Friday. That is going to come with a slight return of rain chances, 20 and 30% there for Thursday and for Friday. So you add it all up, you get your Fox 5 Storm Team 7-day forecast. Looks more like a March forecast than a February forecast.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But, you know, then again, it is almost the end of February, so.
With 35 days, though, until spring, and we're already seeing spring-like temperatures, it's pretty amazing.
Well, and so after March 1st, that's when the meteorologists and the astronomers fight, right? Because the meteorologists say it's spring, but the astronomers say not so fast.
Equinox business and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
I know that, you know, you've had your beef with the groundhogs and apparently now with the astrologists and whatnot. Quick question for you, though, and it's big. Weather in terms of the drought monitoring. I know we have been seeing dryness in a couple of different areas. Our agriculturalists not the happiest. How are we looking with some of the rain that's coming in?
Well, so here, let me pull this up real quick. This is the drought monitor that was updated on Thursday.
Wow.
And notice you have a pocket of extreme drought out in the Athens area. That's going to be parts of Madison, Oglethorpe counties, but now getting all the way up to the Gwinnett County line. So the rain will help out in that area, also down here on the south side, but it's not enough to, I don't think we're going to see some category changes next week. I don't think you're going to see a downgrade from extreme to severe or severe to moderate. I think it's just kind of enough to prevent it from getting worse for the moment.
Oh, you do what you can with what you have, I guess. All right. Thank you so much for getting us our forecast. Like I said, a lot of people may be interested in going out today, but your plans should still be on.
Right. Just don't look for the sun.
All right. All right.
And if you do, good luck.
Thanks, Alex. Let's get a live look outside. I want to see how things are going here in the city. Of course, you're taking a live look out at Sandy Springs right now. Seems to be a pretty beautiful day. The sun is shining, although Alex told us to watch out. You might not see it for the rest of the day. But so far, so good. It looks like the roadways also seem to be pretty clear. So if you are trying to get to breakfast to surprise your boo, obviously it is going to be an easy way to do that. All right, you guys. My name is Judea Murray. Welcome to Fox 5 News Live. This is where we have more in-depth, casual conversations about what's happening in the news. So if I present something to you, you got a question about it, we are live right now on TikTok, on YouTube. You guys can ask in the comment section or let me know of a story I might be missing out on, something that you want to hear more about. I can try to work its way into the show. So this is interactive. You guys have a direct impact on how or what we will cover. It's actually pretty cool. So again, streaming right now on TikTok and YouTube. If you would like to weigh in verbally, type out what you want to see. That's the best way to do it. But let's start with some of the hyperlocal headlines, some things that are happening right now around you. We heard that there has been some arguments, some discrepancies about what was supposed to take place, I believe just Friday. So over in the city of Social Circle, there's supposed to be a new 10,000-bed immigration detention center. And while that has already been paid for, and I mean a multi-million-dollar purchase from the federal government, we know that some officials from the Department of Homeland Security were still supposed to come out and meet with leaders from Social Circle. I'm sure they had questions about, what would this mean for the people who actually live here? Would it harm the infrastructure? How would we be able to have a facility like this and still be able to operate on a day-to-day basis for the people who live here? Well, unfortunately, those officials, according to leaders in Social Circle, well, they never showed up to that meeting. So according to the city of Social Circle, there was supposed to be a meeting at 2 p.m. on Friday. The deputy chief of staff for the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services was supposed to come in and talk to the city leaders, present some more information about this plan of what's supposed to take place when this detention center is up and running. Federal officials never arrived. Social Circle staff says that they actually waited about 45 minutes for someone to come in. No one ever showed up. And they said that they also were not able to reach some of the representatives that they were told were supposed to be their points of contact. So obviously, a lot of people upset there. When are we supposed to hear from somebody? Those are questions that are still in the air. But I can tell you that representatives on both sides, we heard from U.S. Representative Mike Collins, who is a Republican here in Georgia. We also heard from Senator Raphael Warnock, who is a Democrat here in Georgia. Both of them are concerned about how the people of Social Circle are supposed to operate in conjunction with this detention center. The big question is about infrastructure. Now, I'm going to have a lot more information on this story coming right up. If you're interested in this or you have some questions, make sure you post them, because when we go in depth in about 10-15 minutes from now, I'll be able to answer those questions directly. But while we are talking about ICE, there have been some protests here on the local level. A couple of protesters rallied against an ICE facility that's set to open in Oakwood. This is another city here in Georgia, probably about an hour and some change north of Social Circle. So what we know, the city of Oakwood says that it learned through U.S. Representative Andrew Clyde's office that 2 warehouses are supposed to be turned into ICE regional processing facilities. News to them. The Department of Homeland Security said that U.S. Representative Andrew Clyde's office plans to spend more than $150 million retrofitting the facility. That's a pretty big deal. Now, Oakwood city manager says that the facility is scheduled to close within the next 2 weeks and then be operational in its ICE capacity in the next couple of months. So again, a pretty big deal there. It's a new regional processing center supposed to be set in place for immigration and customs enforcement. Now, like I said, there have been some protests, some people rallying against it. We know that quite a few people came out, I believe it was about 50 of them, outside of the Oakwood City Hall to talk about why they don't want this here. So opponents of the project, they say that this location is the issue. It's inappropriately close to schools. They say it's some family-oriented spaces. They don't want their kids subjected to seeing what may take place at these kinds of facilities. One local attorney, who's also a parent out there in Oakwood, which by the way is in Hall County, said that her children attend a school within a mile of where this warehouse is, and her daughter attends dance classes directly across the street. So she says for her, this is a matter of just trying to protect her children from seeing, again, the kinds of things that may take place at a place like that. There's another student that we talked to from the University of North Georgia, who's also the chairwoman of the Latino Caucus for Young Democrats. Her name is Nadalyn Chavro. She says the facility's proximity to her school and her home is, for her, a major concern. She said that the site is only about 2 minutes away from the university's campus, which serves a large Latino student body. And so you can imagine then why there's some concern about that being so close. Well, on the other side, because of course there are some people who want to see it come, U.S. Representative Clyde released the following statement to us here at Fox 5 Atlanta. If you don't mind, I do want to read it to you. So it says, and I quote, "North Georgia knows the horrors of illegal alien crime all too well. I fully support President Trump in protecting American citizens by detaining and deporting criminal illegals from our communities. The new Oakwood ICE facility will play an important role in this fight by serving as a regional processing center. In addition to assisting ICE's mission and mass deportations, the forthcoming facility will also bring a major economic investment to the city of Oakwood and surrounding communities." It goes on to say, "Based on ICE's economic impact analysis, track record, and unwavering commitment to protecting the American people, I am confident that the Oakwood ICE facility will be safe and prosperous addition to the 9th District." Again, that is a statement coming from U.S. Representative Clyde. He's the one who said this. Now, ICE and the Department of Homeland Security did not respond to our request for comment on what's happening out there. But again, here's another story that I'll be able to go a little bit more in depth with in the next 10-15 minutes with you guys. So if you've got some questions about this, make sure you put them in the comment section. All right, last but not least, we heard that a man was killed during a police chase over a license cover. And we also heard that this happened just blocks away from where he lived. So his name is Terry Loman. He was just blocks away from home when officials say that he was hit and killed by a black Mercedes. Now, DeKalb police say that officers were chasing that vehicle, that black Mercedes, that hit Loman over a license plate cover. The Georgia State Patrol is investigating and looking for the driver responsible. We do know right now that that car has a Texas license plate number BLK63. That is according to the Georgia State Patrol. Again, we will be able to go over this more in depth, but those are just the nuts and bolts of that story there. So coming up, I do want to tell you a little bit more about a domestic dispute. I brought up our reporter, Kim Luffler, who has been covering this. I know you talked about this on Good Day Atlanta. This is news to me, so can you walk us through this together? What's happening?
So this happened yesterday afternoon. It was right near Post Road, the exit there on I-20. A lot of people may have driven by that and seen the interstate closed down there for several hours. Now, according to the GBI, they say it all started just before 2:30 yesterday afternoon. Investigators say 52-year-old Jorge Navarez got into a dispute with his wife and another person. When his wife and the other person tried to get away, the GBI says Navarez followed them in a separate vehicle. That's when several people called 911 about a possible road rage incident. The GBI says Navarez got out of his car near the Post Road exit holding a firearm and walked towards his wife's car as well as a responding officer. That's when the GBI says 2 Villa Rica police officers shot at Navarez, hitting him multiple times. He died on scene. And again, that incident caused the eastbound lanes on I-20 to close for several hours on Friday. Now, we did speak with someone who passed these cars on the interstate, and he told us a little bit about what he saw. Take a listen.
An individual hiding behind the vehicle, the other one holding a weapon. And then, next thing you know, the guy was laying on the ground, the one that was holding the weapon. Shots being shot around you, not the best feeling, not the best place you want to be on.
I mean, just listening to that witness, and I heard the whole interview, he was a little hesitant about talking to us, but I mean, I can imagine when you witness something like that, maybe being a little worried about speaking up, but I'm glad that he did, because that helps us get a better picture of what actually took place there. But Kim, I need you to backtrack with me, go over the details one more time so that I can really understand. So they're thinking that this was a domestic incident that maybe got into the roadway. I heard you say there at some point maybe road rage. So how does that all fit in again?
Well, yeah, the GBI is investigating this right now, and that's standard following an officer-involved shooting. So all this information is coming from the GBI. And so they're saying there was some sort of dispute that happened, and then the person who had the firearm got into a car following, according to the GBI, his wife and another person as well. We don't know who that other person was. They both got onto the roadway, and then, you know, it ended up being a situation where, according to the witnesses, they saw several people out of the cars, and we know officers responded as well. So this kind of started at one location and then made its way to I-20, according to the GBI.
Okay. Well, so I guess what's next is we have to wait until the GBI gives their official, here's what we believe happened, and then maybe release their, I guess you can't really charge anybody in this incident.
And we do know the medical examiner is going to be doing an autopsy as well.
Okay. Thank you for helping me make sense of this. Again, like I said, this was news to me. Of course, I saw the Fox Local notification, which, by the way, you guys should have turned on your phones, too, if you want the latest and breaking news. I saw the notification, but I didn't have a chance to read all the way through it. So this is helping me stay up to date, too, of what's happening there.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll have you back in a little bit to talk to us again, maybe see if there are any updates in the case. But you guys, that is the latest that happened out there. Again, Douglas County?
Douglas County.
Douglas County. Okay. You guys, still ahead. Want to talk to you about some of the biggest court cases of this past week and where they're going as the days continue. Tara Baker, of course, has been a big one. All of our eyes have been on.
Yep.
So you guys, we will be talking to you on what's going to happen next when we come back. Hey guys, I'm Judea Murray, back with you with the latest news. But before we get into some of the biggest headlines, I want to start addressing one of our live chatters. It's Womack on TikTok. He's asking the hard-hitting questions early this morning. One of them, why are flowers only $25 only on Valentine's Day? I don't know. Sometimes they do jack up the prices because they know everybody's going to have to get out and buy some type of gift for their significant other. It is a capitalist holiday. That's what we know about Valentine's Day. Lighthearted question there. Another question that he asked was, actually a comment. I just spent $100 at Publix. My wife is still asleep. Your wife is lucky. I hope that she wakes up with a big smile on her face knowing that you did all that stuff for her for Valentine's Day. But now the hard-hitting question that I actually invited the rest of the newsroom to weigh in on is like, what is it with the traditional news anchor voice? Why do they use that? Where does it come from? Well, got a couple of different answers for you. Some people say, well, yes, we learned it in school. One of our reporters says that she was actually taught how to speak with that cadence, and that's why she speaks with it. Another person said that she feels it was just kind of expected and not necessarily anything that was taught, but that's just how she ended up delivering her news. I have my own theory here. I think it is you watch the people who you think are doing really, really well in the job. And then from there, you start picking up maybe this little quirk that they do, or they often say this phrase when they're going to this kind of story, or they use this cadence. And so then you pick it up and you decide it feels good on you. And so you keep rolling with it. For me, myself, I actually despise the anchor voice. So I personally do not use it. That's why we're able to have this kind of lighthearted, normal conversation, but still bring you the news. So I don't have a perfect answer for you. Everybody had a different answer, but that's it for me. So remember, you guys, I want to get into some of the biggest court cases that we have been watching here at Fox 5 Atlanta and where they're going to go in this week ahead. And I want to start with Tara Baker. She's the young UGA law student who was found dead in her apartment back in 2001. So not only did they find her body, but they say that her apartment had been burned down, and they do believe that a fire there had been set intentionally. So it took 20 some odd years before someone was arrested in this case. That man was Edric Faust. You just saw him talking to investigators and detectives there in that previous clip. Well, the court case has been going on for, I believe, are we in day 10? 10 days of testimony regarding that killing from way back in 2001. Right now, the prosecutors, the defense, they're going back and forth trying to determine whether or not Faust actually did this. Could anybody else be suspected? And why all these years later with the DNA, does it make sense? That is essentially what they're going through. They've talked to roommates. They've talked to people who knew her. The last person who saw her, they brought up a DNA expert to the stand. A lot of people have weighed in on this case over these 10 days. Now, we know that on Friday, everybody rested, and the jury is set to begin deliberating on Monday. So that is where we will pick up in Athens-Clarke County on Monday morning. We believe that we may even get a verdict and maybe even some sentencing done also, maybe on Monday, maybe in the days ahead. We'll have to wait and see what the judge decides. But that's the latest that we have there on the Tara Baker murder trial. Now, you may remember the name Nathan Wade. He's the special counselor, special prosecutor who joined Fulton County's district attorney, Fani Willis, when she was going after President Donald Trump. This was tied to the election interference case where he and a couple of his allies faced potential charges, maybe even a conviction. But that case did not end up going anywhere because it was later revealed that Fani Willis and Nathan Wade had a romantic relationship. And then there was some question, was that interfering with the case? Was there some inappropriate inappropriate behavior that may have made it so this wouldn't be a proper case to try? I'm trying to figure out the exact way that I want to describe this to you all. But what I can tell you is Fonnie Willis was brought to testify about what happened there with her relationship and whether or not that fed into some maybe inappropriate dealings with going after the president. She, I think, sat on the stand for like 3-4 hours. It was very, for lack of better words, entertaining. We actually have that full video for you on YouTube if you'd like to go back and watch her in the courtroom or in the room where she had that hearing and listen into what it was that she had to say back and forth with some of the people who were investigating her. Now, it was supposed to be Nathan Wade's turn, but it turns out he did not show up to testify. So he was expected at the Georgia State Capitol on Friday. He never appeared. According to his attorney, he had something come up, so he wasn't able to make it. Committee members say that they still need to talk to him at some point in time, so we believe that that will just delay testimony. It's not going to cancel anything. They also attempted to serve Jeff DeSantis of the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. Now, on the first attempt, they were not able to reach him. During a second attempt, he declined to meet with the process server without first arranging a meeting. So we're waiting to see when Nathan Wade could potentially come to the Georgia State Capitol to testify. We do know that the date of March 13th was floated around, but it turns out that does not work with everyone's schedule, so it may have to be another day. Again, when we find out that information, we will try to get it out to you as soon as possible. Last but not least, here is a reminder: if you are driving in the state of Georgia, you have to move over when you see emergency vehicles. It's the law. And recently, there was an incident where some people did not move over, and unfortunately 2 officers were hurt in 2 crashes in less than 10 days. One happened just last week on I-20. The second one happened just Friday morning on I-575. Now again, Georgia has the move over law. It's been in place since 2003. It states that if you see an emergency on the road, an emergency vehicle with their lights flashing, you need to move over at least 1 lane. If that's not possible, you're supposed to slow down your speed and even be prepared to stop. Now, officers go through extensive driver training as part of their certification, but unfortunately, that does not mean that they control what you do behind the wheel. So again, this law is in place, and it's coming up again because Friday morning, a Cobb County police officer was hurt in a wreck on I-575 near Chastain Road. The officer was working a separate crash when a car came out of nowhere, hit his cruiser. Back on February 4th, an officer was in his patrol car while working a crash on I-20. He had his emergency lights activated. Investigators say that he was still struck by another driver who failed to move over. The police cruiser was pushed into the concrete median. Now, in both of these cases, these officers were injured, but it is a miracle that they are alive. And so, again, Georgia has the move over law. Please abide by it. You could save a life. All right, you guys, still ahead. There's some other things that I want to talk to you about. Remember, I told you to let me know what questions you may have about some of our hyperlocal stories. So once again, we'll be talking about the Department of Homeland Security. Some officials skipped out on a meeting where they were supposed to be talking to some officials in Social Circle, Georgia, about what the facility would consist of. They're planning to bring an ICE facility there. We also know that there have been protests against an ICE facility coming to Oakwood. That is a city in Hall County. And then last but not least, a man was killed during a police chase over a license plate cover. And so we'll have more information on all those stories. But again, if you have any questions, any comments, maybe you want me to add another story in, now would be the time. Go hit us up on TikTok or on our YouTube chat, and you can interact with me in real time. But we need to take a step back. When we come back, we'll go back over those 3 stories. Hi guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. Remember, I said that this is an interactive conversation, so if you had some ideas of where you wanted me to take the show next, some of the stories that you wanted me to go over, or had any questions, comments, concerns about some of the stories that I am talking about, you are invited to drop them in our live stream chat on TikTok, on YouTube. Those are the best ways to get whatever it is that you want across to me in real time. And someone did say Iran, Iran, Iran. They wanted me to talk about Iran, and so do want to let you know today, February 14th, Valentine's Day, is also a global day of action. It's happening all across the world right now. We know that in a couple of different cities, a couple of different countries, a couple of different states, there are going to be rallies held where people will be rallying, I guess, with Iranians. So the whole cause of action, if you aren't aware, there are lots of protests happening in Iran as we speak. At one point in time, there was a media blackout where we didn't know too much information about what was going on, but I do believe they have started protesting in response to the economy. As I understood it, there's been an issue with the markets and inflation, and people upset about, spending more money on items that they have historically spent a lot less money on, started to get riled up. They've taken to the streets, making sure that their government knows that they are not happy with what is happening. And so people from around the United States have also joined in multiple different rallies, different protests, different demonstrations. And today, across the world, again, it is a global day of action. We know of one in particular protest that will be happening on the Beltline here in Atlanta. It's supposed to get started at 2 p.m. according to some leaders who reached out to us. This is happening at 675 Ponce de Leon Avenue here in Northeast Atlanta. Atlanta is joining the cities all across the world in solidarity with the people of Iran amid widespread unrest and what they say are severe government crackdowns. So we also know that a lot of people have lost their lives in these protests in Iran. So that is going to be another issue that people are going to take up during these protests. We're hoping to get some more information about what it is they want to talk about and why they want their voices to be heard, especially here in Atlanta, hopefully later on in this live stream. So stick around with us. But thank you to that person who suggested talking about this. I wanted to make sure that we touch base with everything that you guys want to talk about. Now, good morning to the rest of you who are just now joining us. I am Judea Murray. We're talking about the latest news happening around town. So want to jump right back into some of these hyper-local headlines. We heard about a new ICE facility that's supposed to be coming to here in Georgia to the city of Social Circle. And apparently there was supposed to be a meeting on Friday at 2 p.m. where the Department of Homeland Security was supposed to talk to city leaders, talk a little bit more about the logistics, how this would work, and make sure that these leaders felt comfortable with their residents living around a new facility like this. Well, unfortunately, according to city leaders, the Department of Homeland Security's officials never showed up to that meeting. And so the city of Social Circle says that they waited 45 minutes after the meeting was supposed to begin. Again, no one showed up. They say they tried to get in contact with the person who was given to them as their emergency contact, their point of contact, and haven't heard anything back. And this comes the same week that city officials say the Department of Homeland Security completed a $128.5 million purchase for this warehouse on Hightower Trail that will be turned into the facility. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement say they have plans to begin housing detainees at the site as early as this month, and it has the capacity to hold up to 10,000 individuals with 10,000 beds. And so it's kind of a concern why the officials would skip out on this meeting. City officials want to make sure, again, that their residents are getting the best, that their interests are what's being taken into account. So across the aisle, we know different representatives, even though they're Republicans, even though they're Democrats, they do agree on one thing when it comes to this. They argue that the city's infrastructure, more specifically the water and the sewer services, would not be able to support a facility of this size. And so that is likely would have been the topic of discussion during that meeting if it would have taken place on Friday. The addition of 10,000 detainees would effectively triple the city's current population of just about 5,000. So again, there's some concern with, can we house this many people? What would that mean for the residents? Would they be losing out on their quality of life? Well, Fox 5 tried to reach out to the Department of Homeland Security to clear all of this up. We have not received a response just yet. The facility is just one of the immigration facilities proposed in the North Georgia area. The Department of Homeland Security says that it plans to spend more than $150 million to retrofit 2 warehouses in Oakwood for a new regional processing center for ICE, according to the Office of U.S. Representative Andrew Clyde. And that's actually where we find our next story, because there have been protesters rallying against the potential of those ICE facilities opening in Oakwood. The city of Oakwood says that it learned through that U.S. Representative Andrew Clyde that those 2 warehouses would be turned into ICE regional processing facilities soon. The Department of Homeland Security told U.S. Representative Andrew Clyde's office that it plans to spend more than $150 million again to retrofit the facility. Oakwood city manager says the facility is scheduled to close within the next 2 weeks and be operational in the next few months. So that doesn't give them a lot of time to try to make something happen. But we do know 50 people gathered outside of the Oakwood, I'm trying to think of the name of the place again, City Hall, Oakwood City Hall. That is where they gathered to try to make their voices heard, to explain why they don't want this in their neighborhood. I can tell you from a couple of different people. We'll start with a local attorney. She's also a Hall County parent. She says that she does not want these facilities there because her children attend school within a mile radius of the warehouse. She also says her daughter takes dance classes right across the street. She doesn't want her exposed to some of the kinds of things that you might see at a facility like this. Another student, this person comes from the University of North Georgia. She also serves as the chairwoman of the Latino Caucus for Young Democrats. She says that this facility is just way too close to her school and her home. She says that is a major concern for her. She says that the site is only 2 minutes away from the University of North Georgia's campus that largely supports and serves a large Latino student body. So you can imagine why they might be a little hesitant about bringing something like that so close to them. She also says that she hopes that the demonstration about this 50 people may catch the attention of some local representatives. She's hoping that they listen to the community and know that some of the people on the ground there do not want an ICE detention center. Well, we did talk to the U.S. Representative Andrew Clyde, because every story has 2 sides. He says, and I quote, "North Georgia knows the horrors of illegal alien crime all too well. I fully support President Trump in protecting American citizens by detaining and deporting criminal illegals from our communities. The new Oakwood ICE facility will play an important role in this fight by serving as a regional processing center. In addition to assisting ICE's mission in mass deportations, the forthcoming facility will also bring a major economic investment to the city of Oakwood and surrounding communities. Based on ICE's economic impact analysis track record and unwavering commitment to protecting the American people, I am confident that the Oakwood ICE facility will be a safe and prosperous addition to the 9th District." Again, those are the words of U.S. Representative Andrew Clyde, who supports the new ICE facility. Now, ICE itself and the Department of Homeland Security, they did not respond to our request for comments on what's happening here. But we heard that that facility out in Hall County, out in city of Oakwood, is expected to close in the next 2 weeks and then be operational in its ICE capacity in the next couple of months. So regardless of these protesters out there, it's believed that this project will continue. All right, last but not least, I wanted to talk to you more about the man who was killed during a police chase. And according to officials, it was over a license cover. This all happening just blocks away from his home. So he was almost home. His name is Terry Lohman. Again, he was just blocks away when he was hit and killed by someone in a black Mercedes. The cab police say that officers were chasing that black Mercedes that ended up hitting Lohman over a license plate cover. The Georgia State Patrol is investigating, looking for the driver responsible. Right now, I can tell you that car has a Texas license plate number BLK63. That is the license plate and the car, the make and model that they are looking for, according to the Georgia State Patrol. This all happening Thursday night. That man who maybe, I guess, just in the wrong place at the wrong time is now unfortunately dead. He's lost his life during this incident. According to investigators, DeKalb officers were chasing that black Mercedes southbound on Candler Road when the driver entered the center turn lane and ended up hitting that man with the front of his car. The driver reportedly left the scene, continued going south on Candler Road. The pursuing officer, unfortunately, eventually lost sight of him, so he did get away. The pedestrian, as I have told you now, has been identified as Terry Lohman of Decatur. He was 59 years old, and again, he was pronounced dead at the scene. His family has already reached out, extremely devastated by this information. They tell us that he was just 2 blocks away from home when all of this happened, and that is the home that he and his brothers grew up in. They say that it has been their safe haven, and they just cannot believe that he was so close but just didn't make it. So now they're calling for justice. They say, and I quote, "They will get you. They will hunt you down like a dog, like the dog you are, and you will pay for my brother's death." That is a direct quote from a family member. They remember Terry, the man who lost his life, as a jokester who loved life, loved his family. Again, he was 59 years old, but he was the youngest of 3 boys, and he was a father to 3 of his own children. They say, again, that jokester, he could make anybody laugh. So the DeKalb County Police Department says that they will continue this investigation. They will conduct a review of the chase, which they do believe is standard procedure. They have been pretty transparent with us, the media, about what happened, why they were chasing after that black Mercedes, how they eventually lost sight of him, and are hoping that someone out there recognizes the description of that car. So I'm going to say it to you one more time. We're looking for a black Mercedes. It's a sedan, has the Texas license plate number BLK63. So if you see it on your screen, if you know anything, have any information, you're urged to contact the police at 706-624-1484. So again, that is the latest that we have there on that story. Now, still ahead, want to talk to you guys a little bit about the latest in the search for Nancy Guthrie. She's the 84-year-old mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie. She is still missing. We're hearing more about potential ransom notes. The investigation to try and bring her home safely is ongoing. We'll have more information of what's happening out there in Tucson, Arizona when we come back. guys. I'm Judea Murray. Welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. Thank you for streaming with us, whether you are joining us on the Fox Local app, maybe you're with us on one of our social media platforms, or maybe you're listening to us on the radio. We're bringing you the latest information, things that are happening both here in Georgia and across the nation. Sometimes we'll even talk to you about some international stories. But one story that has been garnering interest, the attention of everyone, is the search for Nancy Guthrie. Again, she is the 84-year-old mother of Savannah Guthrie, the famed Today Show host. She has been missing for days now, and there's been some concern about who could have taken her, why. There's even been some images that were released in that incident. We know that this investigation has ramped up. I was thinking just overnight, but actually within the last hour, Fox News has put out a new update. Now, this is all new information to me, so bear with me. I am reading it, getting this information in at the same time that you guys are. So their headline on this story is Nancy Guthrie disappearance, vehicle towed, at least 3 detained in major operation connected to the case. So 3 people detained, that is a pretty big update. As far as we knew, 1 person had been taken into the police department for some questioning, but that person was eventually released. So to now hear that at least 3 people are now detained in custody potentially, that is a very big deal. So what we know here, a Pima County SWAT team, Pima County operates out of Tucson, Arizona, where Nancy Guthrie lived and where she disappeared. With that SWAT team, the FBI executed a search warrant at a home in Tucson, Arizona, late Friday night. This was approximately 2 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's house. At least 3 people at the time were detained at that residence. This is again according to Fox News. Now, while that raid was underway, local authorities and FBI agents say that they detained the driver of a gray Range Rover for questioning and fingerprinting following a traffic stop in the Culver's restaurant parking lot in Tucson. That vehicle that the person was in has been searched and towed. The FBI also released a description of the suspect seen in a mask and gloves that we've put those images out to you multiple times now here on Fox Local. So you probably have seen them, maybe even just floating around on social media. But that person who was in the mask and the gloves seen apparently, allegedly tampering with the doorbell camera in front of Nancy Guthrie's home has had a description of them released to the public. The suspect is described as a man who stands between 5'9" to 5'10". He has an average build, and he was seen carrying a 25-liter Ozark Trail hiker pack backpack. The FBI has also increased its reward to $100,000 for any information that could lead to the location of Nancy Guthrie, or maybe even an arrest and a conviction of anyone involved in her disappearance. The search has now entered the 2-week mark on Saturday, today, and authorities have yet to publicly name any suspects or persons of interest. But again, that is new information that we have there, that at least 3 people have been detained for questioning. What they will be asked, whether or not they are believed to be directly involved, that's still new and still unseen at this point in time. But once we get some more information, trust me, I will bring it out to you as soon as possible. But that's the latest that we have there on that. Also want to talk to you about what's happening out at our airports. You're taking a live look at Hartsfield-Jackson, Atlantis Airport. We heard that some TSA agents are working right now without pay, and this is all in conjunction with the fact that Homeland Security is shut down. That began this weekend. We also know that this is kind of part of the partial government shutdown that we all are experiencing. So again, TSA agents, you remember what it's like to be a furloughed worker, or you've heard that term before. So they're still going to work. They still have to do all of their regular duties, but unfortunately they will not be bringing home a paycheck. This is all supposed to take place while they're trying to figure out what's going to happen next with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Funding has run out for that entity, but hopefully that won't affect you at the airport. In a little bit, we'll be talking to you about some of the ways we know already that you may face some delays or whatever it may have you if you have a trip coming up. So don't go anywhere, because we'll be talking about that pretty soon. But in the meantime, I want to let you know right now, happening in Florida, the Braves are continuing their spring training. I want to get right out to Justin Felder from the Fox 5 sports team. Justin, you and the sports team have had the best assignments all week long. You've been partying it up in Florida, but also bringing us the latest. What's happening today?
Well, good morning. It's a busy day down here at Cool Today Park, Braves spring training, and today is the day that position players officially are due to report. So everybody's here. Tomorrow is the first full squad workout for the Braves as they work their way up to spring training games and eventually to the regular season. So it's a busy day down at the ballpark, and I'll tell you what, you came to us live down here in Florida at the perfect time. I'm going to flip the camera around because right now, live on the field, you're taking a look as the team is getting warmed up. Let me see if I can zoom in here on this group here on the left, because second from the left right there, you can see kicking up his leg in the air right now is Ronald Acuna Jr., the man himself from the Super Bowl halftime show. Oh yeah, the former MVP, one of the best players in all of baseball. They're getting loose, they're getting warmed up, and what's going to happen with these guys today is they're going to warm up. This is all optional for them right now until tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes mandatory, but they're going to go through a full workout as you see the guys kind of jogging, getting loose, getting stretched out. In a little while, they're going to go through defensive drills. You can see some of the Braves coaches right now. They're getting their own arms warmed up. So they're going to be running these drills. You see the buckets of baseballs out there. They're going to go through some defensive drills. It's going to be pretty light work. Again, this is optional today before the real work starts tomorrow. And then a little bit later, you can see the batting cage. They're going to get in there. The guys who want to will go through batting practice. And then the exciting part of today really is live batting practice, where Ronald Acuna Jr. is going to be one of the players who's going to get in there live, face off with some pitching, get tuned up. They're playing in the World Baseball Classic. You see there Ozzie Albies getting jogging as well. World Baseball Classic coming up in just a little bit. So the guys who are in that representing their home countries, they want to get in, face live pitching a little bit earlier than everybody else. We're going to swing around a little bit, and you can see for the first time here today of spring training, we got fans in the house. It's a popular destination. They got, I'm not sure if we got like a podcast set up right here. It's going to be pretty cool. Got the chairs set up on top of the dugout. Got people waiting to get some autographs down there as well. This is the Braves dugout where they're going to be hanging out. So it's a busy day down at the ballpark. You can see we're getting our arms loose, getting ready to go. It's an exciting time as all the players are here. By the end of the day, they'll be present and accounted for that first full workout tomorrow. So, there we go. Ooh, bright and sunny day. By the way, not a cloud in the sky. It's been really foggy, a little drizzly down here. I need to get out of the sun. I'm going to get a sunburn just thinking about how sunny it is today. But a beautiful day down here for sure.
Justin, I mean, first of all, you're making me laugh because you're talking about how you have to get out of the sun. We are searching for it. It is cold here in Atlanta, so taking all of the sun kiss and the warmth that you can and bring it back to the studio, if you will. But I do have a couple of questions for you.
Yeah, I'll show you.
Yeah, ooh,
make you jealous here.
Gorgeous, and the palm trees. Yeah, what? This is not fair. I got a couple of questions for you, Justin. I'm admittedly fairly new to sports, and so there are a lot of things that I just don't understand yet. So talk to me about, I guess, the headlines that have come out of this. Has there been anything that is unexpected that happened at practice, or is this your just run-of-the-mill beginning of the season?
Sure, absolutely. You know, the things that we're paying attention to are what is this team going to look like this year? What are the expectations from players in the clubhouse? Look, I know you're tired of looking at me. Why don't we watch the players live on the field warming up while we talk about this? So we're always interested in hearing the players' own expectations, right? You know, last season didn't live up to their lofty goals. Why do they feel like this year is going to be different? Another thing, unfortunately for the Braves that we're talking about, injuries. They've already got some injuries they're dealing with on the pitching staff. So a lot of questions we're asking are, okay, who are the young guys that are going to step up into those roles, into those opportunities? Are the Braves going to go out and make a move? Will they sign a veteran player? Will they make a trade? Will they bring in a new player to camp? And also the new players on this team, how are they going to fit in? Actually, I'm going to zoom in right here, just to the right of Ronald Acuna Jr. You can see right here on the right in your screen, that's Mauricio Dubon. We talked to him this morning. He's going to be called upon to be the team's starting shortstop, at least to start the year. We talked to him this morning, and one thing he said this morning was, I love proving people wrong. So if anybody's expecting, the Braves are going to be a little bit lacking at shortstop, he said he loves proving people wrong. He loves rubbing the critic's face in whatever they said about it. So he's somebody going to come in with a lot of confidence already building chemistry with his new team. You got Mauricio Dubon right there, Ronald Acuna Jr., and then to the right, tying his shoe right now, that's Ozzie Albies. You got Michael Harris just to the right of him. So a lot of the regulars out here right now, but those are some of the big takeaways so far from spring training.
Okay, got it. And then my final question for you, so when does the actual season begin? Like, when will we start seeing games?
Yeah, so the end of March is going to be the regular season games. We're looking forward to actually the Braves. I feel like this is rare. I don't know why it's a schedule quirk, but the Braves are starting at home this year. We're always so used to them starting on the road, so that'll be exciting to have them at home. We got spring training games starting real soon. That'll be down here, all in Florida, the team gearing up for the season. But keep an eye on the World Baseball Classic. It only happens every so often. It's players representing their national teams, playing for national pride. It's like the Olympics, right? It's kind of happening in the off years of the Olympics, and you got some Braves players that are going to be representing their home countries. Ronald Acuna Jr. for Venezuela, Ozzie Albies from Curacao, he's going to play for Team Netherlands. And the very first game, by the way, those two are best friends, Acuna and Albies, very first game in the World Baseball Classic, Venezuela against the Netherlands. So we get to see the two best friends from the Braves square off, Acuna versus Albies. So there's already been a little bit of trash talk about that we've been able to hear.
That's what I like to hear, and that is the kind of attitude I need them to bring onto the diamond when the games actually begin. This is going to be really cool to watch. Now, Justin, you guys have been getting some behind the scenes, a lot of exclusive content and whatnot. Where can our audience keep up with you and the sports team?
Well, we have been all over Fox 5 News. You'll see reports tonight on Fox 5 News at 10 and The Edge. My coworker Victor Prieto is down here as well, posting all kinds of great stuff on social media. Follow us on social media. We've been on Fox Local all week long. And the nice thing is we've been talking to so many people down here. Sadly, we eventually have to come back, leave sunny Florida behind. That's okay. We're looking forward to getting home. But we have taught so many interviews, so much great video that we're going to continue bringing you that coverage on Fox 5 News throughout the next couple weeks as the team leads up to the season. So just because we hit the road and head back home, we've got lots more coming on Fox 5 as we head towards the regular season.
All right, great. And Justin, I got some good news for you, because apparently coming up this week, we're expecting 70s, mid 70 degree weather. So you're coming back to a little bit of warmth. I don't know how it compares.
Beautiful.
But yeah. Justin, thank you so much for joining us here on Fox 5
Hey,
News
I miss
Live.
Atlanta. I miss it.
Good. Come back home. All right, you guys, we'll let him get back to work out there. Again, he's getting all the latest content for us from the Braves. That was great. Now, while we are talking about sports, it's worth it to mention to you that you'll be able to watch the 2026 Daytona 500 here on Fox. All right, here's how. First of all, this is expected to be NASCAR's biggest event. This is the 78th edition of the NASCAR Cup Series, and it begins with the 68th Daytona 500. So the races are supposed to start 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. So make sure you're coming back to watch Fox 5 Atlanta tomorrow at 2 p.m. The 500 takes place at the 2.5-mile Daytona International Speedway. It will be broadcast live on Fox, so make sure that you tune into that channel. But if you don't have cable, if you're listening to us on the Fox Local app because you like to stream, the Daytona 500 will be streamed on foxsports.com and the Fox Sports app. You can also stream it on Fox One. So that's the latest sports news that we've got there for you. But remember, still ahead, we're talking to you about all the latest local news, what's happening right here on the grounds, things that may or may not affect your day ahead. We'll be talking about that and more when we come back. Hey guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. We were just talking about the beautiful weather in Florida. Justin does have to come back home eventually to the city of Atlanta. So I brought up our meteorologist, Alex Forbes. First of all, what are we looking at today, but also the week ahead when Justin comes back?
Well, my mind immediately went to I'm going to Florida on Wednesday, so I'm just kind of...
What is with everybody just
listening to that one. Look, after January, I was done. I was like, all right, we're going somewhere warm.
It's understandable.
No, so look, it's going to be warm here in Georgia. Realistically, I didn't need to book that trip to Florida to pull this off because we're going to get into the 70s next week. So look, today's going to be somewhat warm. 50 already now in Atlanta. We've been in the 40s most of the morning. 42 in Dalton, 37 in Blairsville, 50 over in Athens, and 46 in Eatonton at this hour. And we are still dry, and that's expected to remain the case today. We've got that area of high pressure over near Myrtle Beach, but that system back out into Texas and Oklahoma is slowly but surely working its way toward north and central Georgia. That is a low-end severe weather risk today out in Louisiana and Texas. Tomorrow, that does shift into parts of Georgia, but look, we go down to Troup County, and it's quite literally like the very southern part of Troup County that's included in that level 1. The Kia plant is in it for what it's worth. But I'm not expecting severe storms in our neck of the woods tomorrow. I think that's going to be honestly more of an Albany, Valdosta type of thing. But, from Panama City over through Dothan, Tallahassee, Jacksonville, Gainesville, almost down to Orlando is where you have this level 2. It's basically to Ocala. And that does include, all right, so we were talking about the race. There's Daytona Beach, right? So Daytona Beach is in a low-end severe weather risk for tomorrow. Today, though, there we go into the 50s and 60s, and we are just going to keep on sailing through the afternoon. 63 is what we're going to do today in Atlanta, 60 in Gainesville, 61 in Athens and in Dalton, 64 over in Rome, hanging on to 59 up there in Blairsville. Okay, let's time out the rain coming into North Georgia. So through the day today, you're going to notice the clouds on the increase, and then by 10, 11 o'clock tonight, there will be some raindrops around. So if you're out late tonight, you will run into a shower or two. So the rain chance at 30% for today, but that 30% is after sunset. The bulk of the rain holds off until the mid-morning hours tomorrow. This is 8 a.m. I've got another model trying to pull this in around 5, so sometime in those mid-morning hours, right? I don't anticipate 5 versus 8 a.m. having a huge difference for people, but still, nonetheless, you see the stronger storms down to the south. So that's going to be more of a Macon, Dublin, Eastman type of thing rather than a Griffin, Eatonton, Athens, Atlanta type of thing. But still, into the afternoon, we get some of that wraparound moisture, and some of that could be heavy at times, but not really looking for a ton out of it. Now, the rainfall totals, we were talking about it earlier. We need several inches to put a dent in this drought that we have, and there's quite a range here, right? There are going to be some people who only get about a quarter inch of rain. There are going to be others who get about an inch. There's not going to be any rhyme or reason to the pattern. It's just entirely up to where the heaviest of the rain sets up here in the metro area. Now, April showers bring May flowers, even though it's February. 34 days away from spring. We are looking at showers. We are seeing it feel like spring. Watch this. Temperatures get into the 70s next week. Woo! 71 Wednesday, 75 Thursday, 75 Friday. Very conveniently, the 3 days that I'm in Florida. And then, the morning low temperatures are also responding accordingly. So you add it all up, you get your Fox 5 Storm Team 7-day forecast. We got all the holiday icons, all right? So we got Valentine's Day, we got President's Day, we got Mardi Gras. We are sandwiching in between all those holidays that rain on Sunday before we clear out Monday and Tuesday.
Goodness gracious. Okay, so the kiddos look like they're going to have a great Monday staying home.
Yep.
Maybe parents will take you out to do something.
There are like 1 or 2 districts that are in on Monday.
Oh.
Because they were off like last week or something.
Got you. Yeah. Okay. I never understand how the school schedules work, but if you guys understand it, great for you. Alex, thank you for giving us another look at our forecast. We were talking about how today will be a pretty beautiful day. So later on, you guys, I want to give them some ideas of some last-minute Valentine's Day activities that they could still get into.
All right.
All right. But before I do that, we do need to talk about some of our biggest news of the day. First, let's take a live look outside the city of Atlanta. Oh my gosh, guys, gorgeous. Couple of clouds in the the sky, but that's not going to affect your plans, which is great to hear for the most part. If you do have something outdoors, or maybe you just have to travel to where you're going to get to, you should have a safe commute. We were taking a look earlier at some of the roadways, and actually you can see one of the main streets at the very left bottom corner of your screen there. Not many people on the roads at all. So should be pretty simple trying to get to wherever it is that you want to go to celebrate Valentine's Day, or maybe just having your day ahead. Coming back to me in the studio though, again, my name is Judea Murray. I'm here to bring you some of your latest news. Here's what's happening right now around you. We heard that there was a meeting in which the Department of Homeland Security was supposed to come talk to some city leaders out in Social Circle area here in Georgia, because there's supposed to be a new ICE center coming their way in the tune of $128.5 million that the federal government has already spent to make this facility. It's supposed to be a local warehouse where ICE will intend to open up operations. They'll have 10,000 beds in this immigration detention center. Well, the Department of Homeland Security was supposed to meet with city leaders at around 2 p.m. yesterday. According to city leaders, that meeting never happened because they didn't show up. So all we know so far, the city says they had that meeting at 2 o'clock. They waited about 45 minutes past the time where they were supposed to be scheduled to chat. And they were also given a contact for, you know, if something were to happen, here's who you reach out to. They say they contacted that person, didn't receive a response. And so this skipped meeting is so important because it comes the same week that officials reported that $128.5 million purchase was made. And right now they're saying that there's still some concern about how the city will still be able to function if this facility comes in. Because the big question here is infrastructure. Both representatives, Republicans and Democrats, both agree that this city was not built to hold this many people. So the current population of Social Circle is about 5,000 people. Remember, I told you this facility is supposed to hold 10,000. So that would effectively triple the city's population. They say that their water services, their sewer services just are not built to accommodate that many people. And so I'm assuming that that's probably going to be one of the things that they wanted to chat about during this meeting that, again, never happened. So the question is, will it be postponed? Will it be rescheduled? I don't have that information right now. We actually reached out to the Department of Homeland Security to see if they had a comment. So far, we have not been able to get a response either. But this is just one facility that's proposed for the North Georgia area. We do know the Department of Homeland Security also plans to spend more than $150 million to retrofit 2 warehouses in Oakwood. And that's where our next story picks up, because there have been protests against those ICE facilities coming to Oakwood. That's another city here in North Georgia, probably about an hour and some change to the north of Social Circle. Now, despite that $150 million, let me take a step back. I'm getting ahead of myself. The Department of Homeland Security says that it plans to spend more than $150 million to retrofit 2 warehouses in Oakwood for a new regional processing center for the Immigration of Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE. That's according to the office of U.S. Representative Andrew Clyde. Now, Clyde's office confirmed that the property, which would be along Atlanta Highway near Interstate 985, will be converted into a processing facility for the Social Circle Detention Center. His office says that that facility has the capacity to house between 1,400 and 1,600 people. So Clyde's office says that the price, $158 million to retrofit this facility. It'll cost about $160 million just to operate for the first 3 years. Now, the people in Oakwood, not all of them are happy about this. So about 50 people gathered outside City Hall. They protested the facility, trying to make sure that the voices were heard. Most of the people who talked to us said that their concern is with children in the area. One person says that her children go to school within about a mile radius of that ICE detention center where it would be. She also says her daughter takes dance classes right across the street. She doesn't want her exposed to the types of things that could potentially happen at an ICE detention center. But you know, every story does have two sides. So while there are those 50 people and maybe some others in Oakwood who are unhappy, we do know that U.S. Representative Andrew Clyde fully supports this new ICE facility. In fact, he says, and I quote, "North Georgia knows the horrors of illegal alien crime all too well. I fully support President Trump in protecting American citizens by detaining and deporting criminal illegals from our communities." He goes on to say that the new Oakwood ICE facility will play an important role in this fight by serving as a regional processing center. So ICE and the Department of Homeland Security, they did not respond to our request for comment. So unfortunately, I don't have much more to share from that side from them. But that's the latest that we have there on that. Meanwhile, we're learning more about a man who was killed during a police chase. They say that that chase was over a license cover. So this all started, I believe, Thursday night. A man, he was 59 years old. His name is Terry Lohman. He was hit by a black Mercedes just 2 blocks away from where he lived, actually where his family says he grew up as a little boy. DeKalb police officers say that that car that hit him was involved in a police chase with them, and they were chasing after that person because of a license plate cover. The Georgia State Patrol is heading this investigation. They're looking for the driver responsible. What I can tell you right now is it's believed to be a sedan with a Texas license plate number BLK 63. I'll talk to you more about this case, what's at stake, and then more about Terry Lohman, the victim in this incident, and how his family is trying to come to terms with what happened there. But again, that's the latest there on that. I want to move along to a domestic dispute that we hear ended in a deadly police shooting. And so I brought up our reporter, Kim Luffler. Kim, you've been covering this, so kind of help us break it down. What exactly took place here?
Yes, this happened yesterday afternoon. Many of you may have seen it on I-20. It was right near the Post Road exit. So according to the GBI, who's now investigating this officer-involved shooting, the GBI says it all started just before 2:30 Friday afternoon. Investigators say 52-year-old Jorge Navarez got into a dispute with his wife as well as another person. Now, when his wife and that other person tried to get away, the GBI says Navarez followed them in a separate vehicle. That's when several people called 911 about a possible road rage incident there on I-20. The GBI says Navarez got out of his car near the Post Road exit holding a firearm and walked towards his wife's car as well as a responding officer. That's when the GBI says 2 Villa Rica police officers shot at Navarez, hitting him multiple times. He died on scene, and the incident did cause the eastbound lanes there to close for several hours. But we did speak with someone who saw all of this happen. Take a listen to a little of what he had to say.
We see an individual hiding behind the vehicle, the other one holding a weapon. And then, next thing you know, the guy was laying on the ground, the one that was holding the weapon. Shots being shot around you, not the best feeling, not the best place you want to be on.
Wow. I mean, just hearing how, he perceived everything that happened around him. And I know we're talking about a very specific case here that may have some other nuances, but Kim, I mean, you and I live here in Atlanta. I'm just going to be honest. This is one of, if it was just a road rage incident, that's actually one of my worst fears living and driving here in Atlanta, that something like this could happen. So I can imagine being a witness, not knowing everything else that's taken place, and you just think it looks like someone is angry on the road and took out a gun. What do you do? I'm glad that he talked to our reporter and gave us some more information. But now these extra details that suggest maybe something else was happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And, a little bit more with that interview, that witness did say that they were, just in the middle of their workday, kind of going from, I believe it was site to site, and then saw this happen. So certainly not something that you would expect in the middle of a Friday afternoon. But yes, according to the GBI, who's now investigating this, which is standard procedure following an officer-involved shooting, there was some sort of dispute that started off of the interstate street and then, led to the interstate as well. And, witnesses also reported seeing people kind of on the ground. I've seen some video of people kind of on the ground under some cars as well when all this was, happening yesterday afternoon. Certainly still a lot of questions. We don't know who that other person was. The GBI mentioned was with this man and his wife kind of involved in all of this dispute as well. But we do know that the medical examiner's office will be conducting an autopsy following this incident.
Okay, well, that answers my question then of what's next. We've got the GBI investigation, but now also potential autopsy results that we'll be looking forward to. And I guess being able to report that once that stuff is made available to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Kim, thank you so much for walking us through the details. Hoping to see you in about another hour, see if we got anything new on this. Again, that's the latest there on that. You guys, we will keep talking about some of our hyper-local headlines. I also want to give you some more context about some of the stories that I've been talking to you all about. But still ahead, we are going to be talking about court cases. It's a lot happening in Georgia. Some things, especially the Tara Baker murder trial that maybe you guys have heard of. We, of course, know we've been covering it for the last couple of days here at Fox 5 Atlanta. But what's to happen this next coming week, because we are expecting case could end up closing kind of soon. So we'll have more details when we come back. Guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. I'm Judea Murray. I do want to remind you that this is an interactive news conversation, so we'll be going over some of the top stories, everything that's happening between here in Georgia, just nationally across the U.S., and maybe we'll even touch on some international topics if it pertains to you. We'll be talking about all of that stuff, but I do want to remind you that if you have a question, if you have a comment, join us on social media. We are streaming right now on TikTok and YouTube. So if you got a question, got a comment, you can interact with me in real time. I'll know what you need to know, and then I'll be able to get it right here for you on the show. So in a way, you're kind of influencing the news. Kind of cool. Well, we're talking now about some of the court cases that we have been discussing throughout the week that will bleed over into this week ahead. And the biggest one to talk to you all about is Tara Baker. It's her murder trial. She was the young woman from UGA. She was studying in law school, and she was found dead in her home. Not only was her body found, but police say her apartment had been intentionally set on fire. So her body was found in a burning building. Now, that all happened January of 2001. So now how do we get here to 2026? Oh, what took so long? Why are we just now going to court? Well, this was deemed to be a cold case. It took some time for them to get evidence, for them to officially charge someone, but eventually they found this man right here, Edric Faust. He is on trial right now, accused of killing Tara Baker. And so for 10 days, we have been listening to testimony from a roommate to friends, the last person who saw Tara Baker, her boyfriend at the time, Chris Melton. We have heard from experts, someone even coming in to talk about DNA. And that actually, you guys, has played a large role in the last couple of days. That may be, I guess you could say, your smoking gun in this case. So here's what we have. Both the prosecution and the defense concluded their closing statements on Friday afternoon, and they're expected to let the jury begin deliberating on Monday. Right now, Edric Faust, the man you see on your screen, he's facing 12 charges, including malice murder, felony murder, rape, aggravated sodomy, and arson. In the state's closing arguments, they talked about the finality of the evidence and how the Baker family has been waiting for 2 decades now for closure. Meanwhile, prosecutors argued that after a quarter of a century of waiting, the jury has the responsibility to hold Faust accountable. They highlighted some of the advancements in forensic science that have led them to where they are now, where they can take some of the evidence that was collected in the first place at the scene and make some determinations. The state emphasized that DNA evidence, remember I told you that is what they're considering to be their smoking gun in this case. They say DNA evidence collected during the initial investigation finally identified Faust, a man who lived in the same neighborhood as Tara Baker, but evaded capture for decades. Excuse me, not the same neighborhood as Tara Baker. Lived in the same neighborhood since this all happened. But evaded capture for decades. Now, I do have a quick sound bite I want to let you guys listen into where you can hear the prosecution and the defense talk a little bit more about their case and their closing arguments. Let's listen together.
Mr. Foss entered Tara's home and caught her as she was going through her morning routine. He stabbed her, brutally bashed her head, and strangled her as he forcibly raped her.
You folks are the last line of defense between an innocent man and a system that has tried to break him. They falsely accused him, and they tried mightily to bury the truth.
So what's going to happen? Well, hopefully we will learn something on Monday. Again, that is when the jury is set to begin their deliberations. It could take them a few minutes. It could take them hours. It could take them days. We're not exactly sure what they'll come back out to say, but hoping that in the next couple of days we've got a verdict, and maybe even if it is a guilty verdict, then maybe even a sentencing in the next couple of days. But we'll see what happens again on Monday when the deliberations begin. All right, I also want to talk to you guys about Nathan Wade. Do you remember that name? He is the special prosecutor who worked alongside Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis in the election interference case against President Donald Trump and a couple of his allies. At the time they were working together, officials determined that they actually had a romantic relationship, both Nathan Wade and Fani Willis. And so it's been a question of whether that romantic relationship hindered their ability to appropriately investigate or prosecute this case against the president. And so eventually that case was in fact dismissed. Now, Nathan Wade was expected to testify at the Georgia State Capitol. This will be in conjunction with an investigation against District Attorney Fani Willis. She was already set to testify. She spent about 3 to 4 hours talking in front of a special committee. And if you'd like to watch it back, which I would recommend doing, it was, the word I've been using is entertaining, but she was very fiery in her responses back and the questions that she was being asked. And so, of course, a lot of eyes were on what Nathan Wade would say if he had to testify. Well, he was supposed to join them on Friday, and according to officials, he didn't show up. His attorney says that something came up, and so he wasn't able to make it as previously expected. Now, according to the Senate committee, They initially struggled to make contact with him as they attempted to try to get him to testify. So in the first place, it was a struggle to get him there. They say on February 6th, the committee again attempted to contact him through an attorney representing him in a separate AT&T lawsuit. They were still unable to reach him. A process server was later hired, and Wade was formally served on February 10th, according to the committee. Now, the committee members say that they've not only tried to get in contact with him, they've also been trying to serve Jeff DeSantis of the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. On their first attempt to get DeSantis, he was not available. On a second attempt, he straight up declined to meet with the process server without first arranging a formal meeting. Now, lawmakers say that they would later receive an email from the Fulton County District Attorney's Office indicating that both Wade and DeSantis would be entitled to legal representation and that securing counsel could take anywhere from 60 to 90 days. The committee said an attorney for Wade contacted them on the following day. They said Wade would not be able to attend the initially discussed date, which was February 13th, but they had begun some discussion about when he could potentially come out and testify. March 13th was floated, but according to what we've gotten, the information that we've gotten, lawmakers say that that timing just doesn't work for them. And so they're trying right now to find another date that he could eventually appear. But again, this is a much bigger timeline that we're talking about here. Again, Nathan Wade is connected to Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis in the sense that during the election interference case against President Donald Trump, where they worked together, he in the capacity of the special prosecutor on the case, it was revealed that he at one point in time had a romantic relationship with Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. It's something that they, at this point, do not deny, but they do suggest that it didn't impact their ability to prosecute the case against the president fairly appropriately, as they say. But there is an investigation against the district attorney and her behavior and some of the things that she has been doing since that case. So where this lands us now, I mean, we're all in the gray while we wait to see what happens next with Nathan Wade. Whether or not he or DeSantis will be forced to eventually speak is up in the air. But that's the latest that we have there on that. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about this move over law we have here in Georgia. So here's a reminder, if you were unaware, Georgia has a move over law. It's been in place since 2003, and it's in place. Well, first let me tell you what it is. If you are out driving on the roadway and you see an emergency vehicle stopped, you are required by law to move over at least one lane. If you cannot do that safely, they ask that you slow down your speeds and be prepared to come to a stop. Unfortunately, not everybody follows that law, and here are the images that you're seeing before you. 2 officers were hurt in 2 crashes in less than 10 days. One happened last week on I-20. The second happened just Friday morning, just yesterday, on I-575. So again, Georgia has had the move over law since 2003. We're all supposed to and expected to follow it. But when you don't, you could end up in an accident, like these officers were unfortunately injured, but worse, you could end up killing someone. Now, officers, they go through extensive driver training as part of their certification, but they can't control what you do behind the wheel of your own vehicle, and so that's why they're expecting you to go ahead and just follow the law. Now, police say that drivers should be paying deeper attention to the roads. Again, when you see those lights flashing, I mean, this is your reminder, move over. In both cases that I told you about, the one on I-20 and the one on I-575, the officers luckily only had minor injuries, but it could have been so much worse. So what'll happen if you don't follow the law? Like I said, your best case scenario, if you do hit someone, is that they're just injured. Worst case scenario, you could kill someone, but another potential issue for you could face a fine, and fines for violating the move over law can be up to $500 a piece. So don't let it be you. Pay attention, move over. All right, you guys, still ahead. I want to bring you back through some of our top local headlines of the day. We'll be talking about them more in depth. A couple of minutes ago, I had a concern from a viewer on TikTok. We were talking about this man who was killed during a police chase over a license cover. And that person said, you don't run from police based on a license cover alone. So then, that begs the question of why were they really running? We'll be talking about some of the details of that case. It is ongoing. It's an ongoing investigation, so I don't have all of the answers for you guys, but we can talk a little bit more about who this person may be, where they could be, and more information about how you might be able to help police find them. We'll talk to you about that when we come back. Guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. I'm Judea Murray. I want to start with that story I talked to you about just before the break, where we heard a man was killed during a police chase. Police say they were chasing someone because of a license cover. So there's been some questions, a license cover, that's not a reason to run from police. Could there be more to this? Let's dive a little deeper into some of the details that we do have on this case so far. What I can tell you is the man who was killed during that police chase, he was identified as 59-year-old Terry Lohman. His family says that he was just 2 blocks away from where he lived, where he grew up with his brothers, and they're just at this point in time trying to understand how in the world something like this could happen, how they could lose a loved one in something that wasn't even his fault. And so here's what we have here. The DeKalb County Police say that they were chasing a black Mercedes over a license plate cover. The Georgia State Patrol is now investigating that as well. Now, during this chase over that tinted license plate cover, police say that that driver of that Mercedes-Benz sedan, it's black car, you're seeing it there on your screen, ended up hitting Lohman, killing him. Instead of stopping, that driver continued. They were going southbound on Candler Road. Now, the driver entered the center turn lane, hit Lohman with the front of his car, kept going. Police continued that pursuit. Unfortunately, at some point in time, they lost sight of the vehicle. The pedestrian, who was later identified as 59-year-old Terry Lohman of Decatur, was pronounced dead at the scene. Again, his family is devastated. They say he was just 2 blocks away from home. He was so close to home. So how in the world could something like this happen? They're choosing to remember him for the jokester that he was. They say he could make just about anybody laugh. They also say he was the youngest of 3 boys, and he was a father to 3 children. And the family, not mincing any words, say, and I quote, as they're calling for justice, as I quote, "They will get you, they will hunt you down like the dog you are, and you will pay for my brother's death." That is a direct quote from a family member. All right, so the DeKalb County Police, they're the ones investigating the situation along with the Georgia State Patrol. They sent out a statement saying that the department would be conducting a review of the chase. They say this is standard procedure. They want to make sure that all their T's are crossed, all their I's are dotted. Their full statement reads, and this goes into detail of what we know about this case. I will pick around what I read to you guys, but the full statement is available for you on the Fox Local app as well as fox5atlanta.com. On February 12th, 2026, at approximately 8:45 p.m., a DeKalb County police officer attempted to conduct a traffic stop on Candler Road near White's Mill Road after observing violations, more specifically illegal window tint and an obstructed license plate due to a heavily tinted tag cover. The driver initially pulled over. However, after both vehicles came to a stop, the driver abruptly fled the scene. The officer initiated a pursuit. During the pursuit, a suspect vehicle was reportedly involved in a collision that resulted in a pedestrian fatality. The vehicle fled the scene, and the officer discontinued the pursuit shortly thereafter when the suspect vehicle was lost from sight. All right, so again, the Georgia State Patrol is helping lead this investigation. All questions related to the crash are supposed to be presented to the Georgia State Patrol. We don't know the identity of that suspect, but I can tell you the vehicle has been identified as a black Mercedes-Benz. They believe it is a sedan. It has a Texas license plate number BLK63. We have photos that are sprinkled around the video that you're seeing there on your screen, so eventually you'll see that car again. If you have any information at all, they're asking you to contact police immediately at 706-624-1484. All right, I want to go back over the details because somebody just asked what and how did this happen. If you are just now joining us, we are talking about a man who was killed in a police chase. Police were leading that chase because a suspect allegedly had a heavily tinted license plate cover. So the little bit of details that we have, the victim identified as 59-year-old Terry Lohman. He was from Decatur. He was about 2 blocks away from the home that he grew up in, and he was hit and killed by this black Mercedes-Benz that was running away from police. That driver did not stop. They continued. They fled the scene. Officers to this day still have not been able to find him. It happened on February 12th, and you asked where exactly. The traffic stop initially took place Candler Road near White's Mill Road. The driver then fled down Candler Road. I believe it was southbound, and at some point in time they were out of there. They evaded capture. State troopers assigned to the Specialized Collision Reconstruction Team have been called in to assist with this investigation. So if we have any information, if we find out who was driving that black Mercedes-Benz, we will try to bring it to you as quickly as possible here on the Fox Local app. Taking a look now at our time, I quickly want to tell you about 2 ICE facilities that are coming to Georgia. One has already been paid for, 10,000 beds. That one is in Social Circle. We know that the Department of Homeland Security was supposed to attend a meeting surrounding this new ICE center. It's costing the federal government, I think, $128-point-something billion. So it's a really big deal. Leaders, though, officials, are afraid of how residents will be able to go through their everyday life with a facility of this vast structure of this many people is supposed to operate. So long story short, Social Circle has a population of about 5,000 people. 10,000 people are expected to be housed in this facility, which would effectively triple the population. Is the sewer system, is the water system ready for that? We don't know. There's supposed to be a meeting where the Department of Homeland Security would be answering some questions, talking back and forth with city leaders. Unfortunately, that never happened. Officials say that They had a meeting scheduled for 2 p.m. on Friday, and no one ever showed up. No one has answered their questions, responded when they tried to contact whoever they needed to. So the jury's still out on what in the world's going to happen out there in Social Circle, especially since that facility is supposed to start running maybe even this month. And then another ICE facility, this one out in Oakwood, we know that it's set to cost about $150 million to retrofit a warehouse that'll become an ICE facility. There are a lot of people rallying against opening that facility. Some people suggest that it's not good for the children, that there's a school within about a mile away, and that one woman says that her daughter takes dance lessons right across the street. She doesn't want her daughter exposed to seeing, hearing some of the things that could potentially happen at an ICE detention center. We know that officials in this case very much so pushing for that facility to open. In fact, we got a response from Representative Andrew Clyde's office, who is excited about moving forward with this project. He says, and I quote, "North Georgia knows the horrors of illegal alien crime all too well. So I fully support President Trump in protecting American citizens by detaining and deporting criminal illegals from our communities." He goes on to say that he believes that Oakwood ICE facility would be beneficial, an important role that they would play in a fight to serve as a processing center for ICE. So that's the latest that we have there on that. Who will win the fight is still up in the air, but we do know that some people on the grounds, at least 50 people, came out for that protest that happened outside of the city hall there in Oakwood. So we'll keep our eyes there on that, especially the latest that we learned from it. When we come back, though, I want to talk to you about the latest in the search for Nancy Guthrie. She's the 84-year-old mother of Savannah Guthrie, the Today Show host that everybody knows and loves. It's been, I think, 10 days now where we're still trying to figure out where she is, who may have taken her, and there is some new information that we are getting from Fox News. So we'll go over it together when we come back. Hey guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. I'm Judea Murray. We're learning new details in that search for missing 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie. You may recognize her name. She has been all over the internet. Her face has been plastered everywhere while people are trying to get some more answers about where she is, who could have taken her, because officials do believe that she was taken against her will by force. At this point in time, we know that there have been multiple ransom notes that have been issued. How valid each of them are, most for the most part, still up in the air. But what I do have for you, according to Fox News, there is a new update. At least 3 people have been detained in a major operation connected to this case for the Nancy Guthrie disappearance. So the Pima County SWAT team and the FBI, they executed a search warrant in a Tucson area residence. This all happening late Friday night, so that investigation really ramped up overnight. This home is only about 2 miles away from where Nancy lives. At least 3 people were reportedly detained in connection to the operation, but none of those 3 people have been confirmed as suspects in her disappearance. So local authorities and the FBI, they detained 1 man following a traffic stop in a Culver's restaurant parking lot in Tucson in connection to the warrant that was served on the nearby home. That's all according to Fox News Digital. They also say a gray Range Rover was searched and towed from that parking lot. The FBI has also released a description of the suspect who has been seen in a mask and gloves, allegedly tampering with the doorbell camera that is situated in front of Nancy Guthrie's home. As we do know, that camera had been messed around with, and so they weren't able to pull more video from it. It actually took some time for them to go back in the servers and get the little bit of information and the little bit of video and pictures that we do have. So right now, they do believe that that suspect is a male, maybe between 5'9", 5'10". They have an average build. They were seen carrying a 25-liter Ozark Trail hiker pack backpack. They're hoping someone out there recognizes this individual just from the surveillance video that they do have. They're willing to offer $100,000 for any information that could lead to the location of Nancy Guthrie, or maybe lead to an arrest and the conviction of anyone who had anything to do with her disappearance. The search has gone on for about 2 weeks now, and authorities still have yet to name a suspect. They have not said publicly who they believe could be involved, but now knowing that at least 3 people have been detained in quote unquote a major operation connected to the case is pretty big. Now Fox News does have some images that show a partial view of one of the men who was detained in the investigation, but I do want to be clear, detained is not the same thing as officially being under arrest. They're not necessarily charged with anything. Sometimes people are detained just to bring them in for questioning. So a lot of things could be happening here, but still it is a major update to this case. Again, 2 weeks of not knowing what's been going on. Anything at all becomes valuable information. All right, you guys, also want to talk to you about TSA agents. We did learn, you're taking a live look out at the Atlanta airport, and then in the bottom, you're taking a look at some TSA agents doing their regular duties. You've heard of furloughed workers, people who are required to still go to work, to still do all of the things that they would normally do, but aren't being paid in the case of a government shutdown. And we are in a partial shutdown right now. We do know Homeland Security is effectively shut down because funding has run out. And Homeland Security also does, in fact, fund TSA. They are responsible for their pay. So we know at this point in time, this is all really new this weekend, which is why you may not have heard about it just yet. But TSA agents are expected to be working without pay at all U.S. airports due to another partial shutdown. This shutdown is of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. It took effect early Saturday morning, and it impacts TSA. They are responsible for screening passengers' bags at the airport. You've no doubt, if you've flown anywhere, have been in contact with a TSA agent. You're taking a look there on your screen at some of the things that they do. So now, question for you, although we should be more concerned about how these people are going to be able to feed their families while they're waiting for their paycheck, which, by the way, it's not that they won't be paid at all. It's that their payments, their paychecks will be held until that portion of the government reopens. till it is funded, and then that'll trickle down back to them eventually. It's just that right now they will not be able to receive their paychecks. Now, while we should be concerned about, you know, how they're going to operate while they're being furloughed, there may be some questions about how that may impact you. Maybe you have some travel coming up, and so you're wondering, well, what am I supposed to do if TSA is not being paid? Will they stop showing up to work? Will that cause delays? Potentially. So here's the impact on travelers. It's really hard to predict when, excuse me, got a little tongue-tied there. It's really hard to predict whether or when a snag might happen, a delay might happen because of all of this. There's even been a handful of unscheduled TSA absences that could lead to some longer wait times for you in smaller airports. But then you think about an airport like Hartsfield-Jackson, the world's busiest airport. Could we really see the impact there? What I can tell you is that the government, they're telling you travelers to just come to the airport early. Expect to be delayed. Come to the airport early, get through security as quickly as possible, and then you won't have to worry about that. Experts say that flight delays are a possibility, even though air traffic controllers are not affected by this shutdown, which is different than the shutdown that we just saw a couple of months ago. Air traffic controllers were impacted, and we saw at quite a few airports that things just were really slowed down. So what you can do to prepare, not only can you just come a little earlier, people are saying you might want to look online and check to see if your flight has been delayed or canceled. Right now, there's about a 2.5 hour delay for a lot of different flights. And so that can help you if you haven't left your home for the airport just yet. We're not quite sure how long this will take. The House and the Senate, of course, they're going to have to try to come to an agreement on funding for the Department of Homeland Security, which again will trickle down to TSA. When that'll happen, I don't have that answer for you all. But that is what we know about that. I wanted to make sure that we touch base on that because a lot of people were concerned with our TSA agents and again what that meant for them if they had some travel coming up soon. And I'm taking a look at the corner of my eye. We do need to take a step back. When we come back, though, remember, we are celebrating Valentine's Day. Maybe you still want to get out there. We've talked to our meteorologist about how it is a fairly beautiful day here in Georgia. You don't necessarily have to worry about the rain. So in a little bit, I'll be talking to you about some pretty cool last-minute Valentine's Day plans that you can still plan to do with your loved one. More on that when we come back. guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. I'm Judea Murray. If you still haven't made Valentine's Day plans, but you do have a special one in your life, don't worry, I'm here to save the day. Here are 5 ideas that you can take with you. Last minute Valentine's Day plans. You don't necessarily need a reservation for these. So first of all, you're going to find so many more options on our website on the Things to Do tab. Right now, I'm looking at an article called Valentine and Valentine's Day Deals Events in Metro Atlanta, put together by Joyce Lupiani. She's on the digital content creation team, and she wrote this article out with love in mind for you. Okay, so let's start in Inman Park. If you live in Atlanta, Inman Park is a great option. Amore has a Valentine's Day celebration. It's also their 25th anniversary, but super cute. So if you have a loved one who loves taking pictures, loves content creation, this might be a great one for you. Cupid approved decor. The hospitality is great there. They've got a multi-course Valentine's menu available all throughout February. So whether you get there today or maybe you make some plans for tomorrow or just later on in the month, it'll still be available for you. On Valentine's Day itself, they will be offering the Valentino's Feast. It's a multi-course dinner, costs $200 per person, so it's pretty penny, but you get a complimentary glass of bubbly. You do have to pay a $50 per person deposit in order to make a reservation, but let's keep going because maybe you don't have time for a reservation. Maybe you don't live in the perimeter. There are a couple of options for you. So first of all, let's talk about saving some money. Bojangles at some participating locations has heart-shaped Bowberry biscuits available right now through February 22nd. The biscuits are delicious. They've got bowberries, ice drizzling. Again, if you wanted to save some money but you still wanted to show person that you're trying, or you guys just like sweets, maybe that's your thing that you love together, that's a cool option for you all. All right, let's get something outside of the perimeter for you. So far I gave you 2. Alpharetta Cattle Shed Wine and Steak Bar has a 4-course Valentine's Day dinner. It's a lot less than that $200. This one is $115 per person plus tax and gratuity, and it starts with gorgonzola stuffed dates, continues with elevated starters, premium steaks, seafood, house-made pasta options, and then you've got your desserts. You could do lavender creme brulee, 6-layer chocolate cake. There are lots of different things you can get. They also have some Valentine's Day special cocktails and a rare champagne selection for you if you want to do something like that. And then that's 3 so far. Let's go a little further. I'm scrolling down in real time with you guys. All right, so I want to see something way out of the perimeter. That's what I'm searching for. Well, how about a show? Love and the King of Swing at Swing. Byers Theater, Sandy Springs Performing Arts Center. Today, they have jazz vocalist Carla Harris, who's teaming up with trumpeter Joe Gransden for a romantic Valentine's night of swing and classic love songs. So that's super cute. Nice show if you guys like entertainment. Maybe you like to work out together. Planet Fitness at all of Georgia's locations. They have a Valentine's Day guest special. If you bring a guest, you'll both get in for free workouts plus access to the massage chairs and the hydro massage. You just have to be 18 and plus with a valid ID. Again, it's free for a limited period of time. And if you've never sat in their hydro massage chairs, I'm gonna tell you right now, oh my gosh, it's like being in heaven. And then the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta has a Lights of Love show. So their event is happening today at the Arthur M. Blank Hospital, Hughes Spalding Hospital, and Scottish Rite Hospital. So you got a couple of different options. The community is encouraged to bring a flashlight, phone light to shine up to patients in their rooms. So this is one of those things, if you like to give back, if you want to make somebody else happy. There are a lot of children who may be spending their Valentine's Day, their holiday in the hospital. It's not the most fun thing to do, and that would kind of be a way to brighten up their day. So again, that is happening at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta hospitals, the Arthur M. Blank Hospital, the Hughes Spalding Hospital, Scottish Rite Hospital. Starts at 5:30 p.m. at Hughes Spalding and 8 p.m. at Arthur M. Blank and Scottish Rite. This is obviously absolutely free to participate in, and it's just like I said, it's a great way to make someone else's day. All right, so we do have plenty more options. Obviously, a lot of them are in Atlanta, but I am still scrolling down and I see quite a few in like Fayetteville, a couple of other places that are outside of the perimeter. So we'll bring you the latest on that, or you can check out the website for more information. But those are a couple of ideas for you. All right, still ahead, I want to get back to the actual news, talking to you about some of the things that are happening right here in Georgia, here in Atlanta. Also, some things that are happening across the country, as well as maybe even we'll touch on some international topics. And remember, this is a live interactive conversation, so if you have a question, if you've got a comment, something you want to share with me, if you want me to touch base on a story that maybe I haven't talked about just yet, hit us up on TikTok and on YouTube, and you will be able to be live with me, maybe even influence the news. We'll have more on that when we come back. Hey guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. I'm Janae Murray. This is our meteorologist, Alex Forbes. Alex, a lot of people are trying to get their Valentine's Day plans, their last minute Valentine's Day plans together. What's the weather looking like today?
Well, I would include clouds.
Okay.
So if you're looking to go to the beach, one, we don't have a beach, and
Also,
two,
too cold.
it's a little chilly out there. Also, the sun's not going to be out. So, if maybe you're trying to do the pool. I don't know why you do that, but maybe you were. And today's just not going to be the day for it. 55 right now in Atlanta, 55 in Covington, 54 in Eatonton, about Blairsville, Gainesville, and Dalton, and Carrollton for that matter, hanging on to the 40s at this hour. But most of these numbers are actually now trending warmer than they were this time yesterday. We had been cooler in Atlanta all morning, and now we are warmer. So 2 degrees warmer in Atlanta, 3 degrees warmer in Canton, and 4 degrees warmer in Gainesville at this hour. Fox 5 Live Viper continues to be quiet, but it will not be for long because of our friend out there to the west, the big red L. The low pressure system is going to bring rain by the time we get toward tomorrow morning. Well, really tonight and into tomorrow morning as that high pressure begins to move away. So severe weather day out to the west, Dallas, Houston, Austin, level 1 there. Houston's in the 2, and that goes as far north as almost Tyler and Alexandria there in Virginia, or in Alexandria, Louisiana, and then over to New Orleans. Now for tomorrow, that shifts off to the east, and it does include a small sliver of Troup County, but it's not even enough for me to really mention, right? I think most of this is going to be down to the south for tomorrow afternoon. That's where your stronger storm threat is going to be. So for today, Looking for temperatures in the 60s this afternoon. 63 in Atlanta, 63 in Eatonton, 59 in Blairsville, 61 in Dalton, and 64 over in Rome. And then the rain tomorrow will help change things up, at least in terms of the temperature. So you see a couple of scattered showers in metro Atlanta before the midnight hour. That's where today's 30% chance of rain comes from. And then as we find our way through tomorrow, that front, essentially, going to get closer and closer, some steadier rain by the mid-morning hours. And notice you get some of the oranges and reds coming through the metro area. Don't be surprised to hear a rumble of thunder, but aside from that, not looking for much more. And then some wraparound moisture for the afternoon and evening. Still some sprinkles out there by 8 o'clock tomorrow night before we dry out into your President's Day morning. So how much rain are we talking about? Well, whatever we get will be beneficial, but it's not going to be a whole lot. There might be 1 or 2 spots over an inch, but we need several more inches to put a dent in this drought situation that we have going on across north and central Georgia, which hopefully as we get closer to spring, we will be able to do. At least the way I see it now is temperatures warming up, 60s into the 70s through the week ahead. Should be a nice President's Day, a nice Mardi Gras. Caitlin was just telling me DeKalb County schools are out all week, so I don't know what more you could ask for, at least from a weather perspective. Ooh. For a February break. But notice those rain chances begin to come up ever so slightly there for Thursday and for Friday. 20 and 30% chance both days.
Okay, I mean, it looks good. A great day to get out there and do something. Obviously, as you mentioned, if sun is part of your plans,
right.
Probably not
it
the best
shouldn't be.
to do.
Yeah, it's not part of mine.
But at least it'll be dry for the most part for today. That's great news.
Until we get to about 10 o'clock or so.
Well, y'all should be home at that point in time. All right, Alex, thank you so much for giving us a look at our forecast. We'll be touching base with you in a second. But I want to take a live look outside. We've got a camera over Mercedes-Benz Stadium here in downtown Atlanta. It is, like I said, a pretty nice day out. But as Alex mentioned, I mean, the cloud cover is pretty thick. But beautiful day nonetheless. It could be colder. It could be warmer. It's somewhere right in the middle. I'm not mad at this weather at all. But it does look like I have some breaking news to bring you guys. This is just in from Fox News. Remember, I've been talking to you guys about the search for Nancy Guthrie. She is the 84-year-old mother of Savannah Guthrie. And at one point in time, I was able to let you guys know that 3 people had been detained in some overnight investigations that were taking place near her home. Well, unfortunately, as of about 14 minutes ago from Fox News, Pima County Sheriff says that no one has been arrested and no one remains in their custody. So again, this was after that big operation. They were calling it a major operation. We were hoping that we got some answers from this, and I'm actually quite curious as to what they wanted to know from the 3 people that were detained. What role did they play, if any, at all in this? What did they think they would know about this case? But right now, Matt Finn, who's the Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos told Matt Finn, who's from Fox News, that no one was arrested, no one remains in custody following that operation out in Tucson, Arizona. It was conducted Friday in connection to the Nancy Guthrie case. Some sources say that at least 3 people had been detained in connection to a search warrant that was conducted at a home, I think about 2 miles from the area where Nancy lives. Photos give a partial view of one of those men in handcuffs, detained in the parking lot of a Culver's restaurant in connection to the search warrant. We also know that a car that was somehow involved with these 3 people, or at least with that one person, had been towed at this point in time. But again, it looks like all of the people have been let go. We don't have a suspect. We still don't have a name of a potential suspect. It's been 2 weeks since 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie disappeared. And so unfortunately, with not much more information, it's kind of hard to figure out where we go from here. Of course, that investigation is going to continue. We know the FBI is involved. Local authorities are, of course, involved. Here in Georgia, a lot of interest. I mean, really around the country, but especially here in Atlanta, a lot of interest in trying to figure out what's next. How do we move forward? Savannah, her siblings, how are they faring? And then we also know that there have been some reports of ransom notes, and whether or not those ransom notes were valid, were real, has been called into question as well. Again, what I can tell you is that there was a search warrant executed last night in Pima County. That is the area that Nancy Guthrie lives in Tucson, Arizona. During that time, one person was detained in a parking lot of a Culver's restaurant. We believe 2 other people were also detained. All 3 of them have apparently been let go. Now, there is a description of the suspect, even though we don't have a name. They do believe it was a man who was seen on doorbell camera, actually messing around with the doorbell camera, eventually disabling it. And so there's not a lot of images, not a lot of videos that we were able to get from this situation. But they do believe that he's a man between 5'9", 5'10". He has an average build, and he was also seen carrying a 25-liter Ozark Trail hiker pack backpack. So, well, again, with very little information, that is the latest that we have there on that. I also want to talk to you real quick about a man who was killed in a police chase, allegedly over a license cover. This was the chase involving the suspect was over that license plate cover, according to police. But Terry Lohman, he is identified as the victim in this case. He was just 59 years old. And his family says that he was about 2 blocks away from where he lives, where he grew up. So he had almost made it home when a black Mercedes-Benz sedan came out of nowhere, hit him. That Mercedes-Benz continued going down the road. Police continued their chase. Unfortunately, they eventually lost sight of that suspect, so that suspect virtually got away. Meanwhile, Lohman, the victim, lost his life, and his family is trying to come to terms with everything that happened. Not only was he a loved one, he had a family. They say he had 3 children. He was the youngest of 3 boys, so he had brothers, and they say he was the kind of person that could make just about anybody laugh. So his brother, one of the brothers, spoke to us here at Fox 5 Atlanta, and he said, and I quote, "They will get you. They will hunt you down like the dog you are, and you will pay for my brother's death." Of course, he is talking, in essence, to whoever did this. Again, police are still looking for that suspect, so we don't have that much more information to share with you all. Hopefully, this investigation does continue and they're able to find something. But right now, that is the latest that we have there on that. All right, bringing it back into the studio, I want to talk to you guys about a case where we know a domestic dispute potentially ended in a deadly police shooting. So I brought up our reporter, Kim Leffler. Kim, you've been covering this. Walk us through some of the details.
Yes, this happened yesterday afternoon, and it actually happened on I-20 in Douglas County. Many of you may have been driving on I-20 at the time. We know several people did see this happen. Now, the GBI is investigating this shooting, and they say it all started just before 2:30 Friday afternoon. Investigators say 52-year-old Jorge Navarez got into a dispute with his wife and another person. When his wife and the other person tried to get away, the GBI says Narvaez followed them in a separate vehicle. That's when several people called 911, according to the GBI, about a possible road rage incident. And the GBI says Narvaez got out of his car near the Post Road exit there on I-20, holding a firearm, and walked towards his wife's car as well as a responding officer. That's when the GBI says 2 Villa Rica police officers shot at Narvaez, hitting him multiple times. He died on scene. And that incident did cause the eastbound lanes there on I-20 to close for several hours. Now, we did speak with someone who saw this happen and heard those gunshots. Take a listen to a little bit of what he had to say.
We see an individual hiding behind the vehicle, the other one holding a weapon. And then, next thing you know, the guy was laying on the ground, the one that was holding the weapon. Shots being shot around you, not the best feeling, not the best place you want to be on.
I can imagine frightening scene to be driving past, especially now when you have all the details of what really took place there. Have we heard anything else, anything new in this case in the last maybe hour or so or anything like that?
The GBI is continuing their investigation. Okay. That is pretty standard in officer-involved shootings for the GBI to investigate. We know an autopsy will be done, following this incident as well. But right now, that is what we know. Certainly still a lot of questions. We don't know exactly what this dispute was about. We don't know, the GBI is just identifying the other person as another person with his wife. We don't know their relationship at all or exactly who that person is. But as you mentioned, certainly a very frightening scene for everyone that was around this area at the time.
Kim, a question for you. I don't think I asked you before. Were you working yesterday when all this went down?
I was not. I was working our morning shift, so I was already off for the day. Yep.
Okay. I was just wondering how long that roadway had been shut down, if you knew. But
well, I know our Christopher King was covering this story last night, and I did see when he joined us on Fox 5 News at 10 and 11 that they still had some officers out there. I don't know if the road was closed at that point, but I know officers were still on scene just based on the image that I saw behind him.
Got you. Well, so very much so still inactive in investigation. As we wait for any other information to come out. This has been very interesting to try to wrap our heads around. And if we do get some more information, you guys will be able to find it here on the Fox Local app. So that's the best case for any kind of breaking news. We'll be able to bring it to you as quickly as possible. Kim, thank you so much for joining me to talk us through that story. We also have an article about it on our website if you guys are interested in reading some more. But still ahead, because the news does continue, we'll be talking about some of the court cases that we have been covering this past week and where they'll go this week ahead. We'll have more on that when we come back. Hey guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. Today is Valentine's Day, and I do love love. I want to get you right out to a live shot from New York City, where we know there are plenty of live weddings, a couple of proposals taking place. They are interviewing right now. I heard her say she's the CEO of David's Bridal, so I want to get right out, listening to what she's telling us. This is all while those marriages, those proposals are taking place throughout the day.
Momentum in the world, and we love being in this business.
Nice. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I think that's you.
So it was a quick interview that they did there, but again, that scene behind her, if at some point maybe we'll be able to get a picture for you of that today. They're expected to be, I mean, you can see it's like the arch, and you got a couple of chairs so you can have some witnesses for your wedding. At 11 a.m. they had their first wedding. 11:30 there's supposed to be a surprise proposal, and so I guess I can't tell you who's getting proposed to. That'll be happening on one of the billboards out there. This is Times Square. They've said it's 6th Street, but this is Broadway, Times Square. So again, we're expecting all of these things to take place in the next hour. There's supposed to be a second wedding, and then we may even get to see a vow renewal ceremony later on. So again, this is happening all day in New York City. And speaking of, marriages and whatnot, if I can skip ahead here in the city of Atlanta. Well, it's really the city of Brookhaven, but close enough to Atlanta. We know that they're actually offering free weddings as well. So, I mean, New York has their version. We've got our version here in the city of Brookhaven. You don't have to be a Brookhaven resident in order to do this. All you have to do is have a Georgia marriage license. If you want to get married for free, you got to RSVP online through the city's website. Your deadline to do so is Friday, February 20th at 5 p.m. So it's not just today. You got a couple of days to try to get this done. And again, it's out here. The city of Brookhaven wants to help you love on, whoever it is your person is. And especially because this is a weekend for love for a lot of couples who are, just showing how much they care about each other at this point in time. It might be the perfect time to go ahead and tie the knot. So we've got a little graphic made up for you with some of the details that you're going to need to know. The city's municipal court will be the ones hosting this. They're calling it Hearts of the Haven, Friday, February 27th at 3 p.m. If you're someone who wants to take part, again, you don't have to be a Brookhaven resident. You just have to have a Georgia marriage license, and you do have to RSVP online through the city's website. The deadline, once again, is 5 p.m. next Friday, February 20th. So, take some time to think about it. But if you're ready to make that step, why go bankrupt over a wedding? You can do it for free in the city of Brookhaven. It's pretty cool. All right, so remember I did tell you that we would be talking about some of the biggest court cases here in Georgia, how they're going, and where we expect them to go in the week ahead. So, of course, we're going to talk about the Tara Baker murder trial. So you may remember her name. She's a young woman who was studying law at the University of Georgia. In January of 2021, her body was found in her burning apartment building. She had been killed, and officials believe that this man you see on your screen there, Edric Faust, is responsible for her death. And so that is how trial has been going. They've been going back and forth trying to prove whether or not he did this. We've heard from friends, we've heard from roommates, we even heard from Tara Baker's boyfriend at the time, Chris Melton, who has had his own say of what happened there. Now, again, I told you that this happened all the way in 2001. So how did we get to 2026? And why are we just now going to trial now? It's because this was a cold case, and it took years, decades, for them to, go through with the new forensic science technology that we have now, in which they were able to make some determinations based on DNA that perhaps Faust was involved, had some sort of interaction with Tara Baker before she died. And so they had their closing arguments, both the prosecution and the defense, on Friday. And we expect that on Monday, the jury will be able to begin deliberating, which means we could have a verdict potentially the same day, maybe in a couple of days. And we could also, if he is proven guilty, potentially see sentencing pretty soon too. So there are going to be a lot of eyes on this case. We know so many of you guys have been following along with us on YouTube, which, by the way, if you'd like to go back and play any day of court, right now, this has been 10 days worth of testimony. If you would like to go back and replay any of those days, the full court trial is available for you on YouTube. We streamed every single day, so you guys can go back and watch whenever you want to. Closing of this trial would mean closure for the Baker family, of course. It would also put to rest a decades-old a question of what in the world happened to Tara Baker back in January of 2021. So now we did get to listen in to some of those closing arguments. I want to let you listen into both the prosecution and the defense, and let you decide where you may lie and where the jury may decide.
Mr. Faust entered Tara's home and caught her as she was going through her morning routine. He stabbed her, brutally bashed her head, and strangled her as he forcibly raped her
You folks are the last line of defense between an innocent man and a system that has tried to break him. They falsely accused him, and they tried mightily to bury the truth.
All right, so Edric Faust, the man who is on trial, faces 12 charges, which include malice murder, felony murder, rape, aggravated sodomy, and arson. And I may have mentioned before, but DNA is what has played a major role in this case. That's really why they were able to bring this to trial at this point in time. The defense focused on what they described as a lack of physical evidence linking Faust to the crime scene. They said that they have doubts and hope to sow some seeds of doubt into the jury about the integrity of this decades-old investigation. But meanwhile, the defense attorneys pointed out that there were no fingerprints, footprints, eyewitnesses placing Faust inside the apartment on the night of the incident, and they're doing all of that while the prosecution suggests that they've had DNA experts that have come in and testified that Faust did in fact have some sort of interaction with Tara Baker that should prove that he was in fact her killer. And so, like I said, the two have been going back to back, back and forth over that DNA testing that linked into the case. We also know that officials say that there was some other male DNA found on Tara Baker that belonged to her boyfriend at the time, Chris Melton. Now, his alibi proves, according to investigators, they say they believe that his alibi proves that he did not commit the murder. Also, want to make sure that I say Melton has never been charged with a crime related to this case. But there have been so many hoops that we have been thrown and forced to jump through throughout this trial. So Monday, all eyes will certainly be on what happens to Edric Faust and hopefully learning what in fact happened to Tara Baker back in 2001. So court resumes Monday morning. All right, you guys, we also want to talk to you about Nathan Wade. If that name sounds familiar, it's because he was the special prosecutor that worked alongside Fani Willis in the election interference case, in which we know she was trying to prove that President Donald Trump and some of his allies were bad actors in the 2020 election. But during that case, it was revealed that she and Nathan Wade had a romantic relationship. So then the question came out to the public, if they were engaging in some sort of inappropriate relationship, could they have bled over into inappropriate dealings and handlings with the election interference case against the president? And it came to be that that case was dropped. So we have been keeping up with what's happening in the new investigation against Fani Willis. We know a couple of months ago she was asked to testify before a special Senate committee, and during which at the Georgia State Capitol she spoke for about 3 hours in very fiery responses to all of the questions that she was asked. Well, now it's Nathan Wade's turn. On Friday, he was supposed to appear at the Georgia State Capitol, but did not come. According to his attorney, he had a prior and something else that pulled him away, and so he wasn't able to make it. But they are trying to find another date for him to come in. March 13th was floated as a potential day, but unfortunately the lawmakers say that that timing does not work with their schedules. So again, they're trying to find an alternative date. And they're not just looking for Nathan Wade to come in and testify. They also have attempted to serve Jeff DeSantis, who also works with the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. On their first attempt at serving him, DeSantis was not available. During a second attempt, he declined to meet with the process server without first arranging a meeting. And so when the two of them could potentially testify is still up in the air. We're trying to figure all of that out. If you need a quick refresher on how we got here, what the relationship between Nathan Wade and Fani Willis was all about, we do have a full timeline up for you on our website, also on the Fox Local app, where you can find more information on how they came to be together and the allegations against them in the case against Donald Trump and 18 other allies that we were talking to you all about. Last but not least, I want to talk to you about Georgia's move over law, because it is critical. if you guys have never heard of it, maybe you don't live in the state of Georgia, Georgia does have a quote unquote move over law. The whole purpose of it is if you see an emergency vehicle stopped on the side of the road, you are supposed to move over at least one lane. If you can't do that safely or in a timely manner, they ask that you start slowing down and eventually, potentially be ready to stop. Now, when you don't do that, you could end up like these images you see here. 2 officers we know, I think within a week of each other, were injured when someone didn't stop, didn't move over, and crashed into their patrol cars. So here's the latest that we have there on that. On last week, there was an incident on I-20. There was another incident just yesterday morning on I-575. So in Friday morning's crash, a Cobb County police officer was hurt in that wreck. It all happened near Chastain Road. The officer at the time was working a separate crash when a car hit his cruiser. Luckily, he was just injured, minor injuries too. The other officer on I-20, that was back on February 4th. The officer was in his patrol car. He was also working a crash on I-20. His emergency lights had been activated, but investigators say he was still struck by another driver who failed to move over. His police cruiser was pushed into the concrete median. And so the thing that they're just trying to make sure everybody knows here is simply moving over, simply slowing down a little bit could potentially save a life. Luckily, in these instances, these officers were only injured, but it could have been worse. These officers could have lost their lives. You could potentially lose your life in a crash like that. And so they just want you to be safe, want you to be smart, but also remember that it is the law. Fines for violating the Georgia's move over law are up to $500. And it's been in law since 2003. And they are very, very serious about how they go about making sure everybody follows that law. So that's the latest there on that. When we come back, I want to go back over some of the top local news headlines so we can talk to you about what's happening around Georgia, some things that may affect you, some things that you just may be interested in knowing more about. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, remember you can hit us up on our live chat. We are live on TikTok right now. You guys are able to interact with me in real time. All right, we'll bring you back when we have a second. Welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. I'm Judea Murray, and I just got some very interesting news into the digital center. Let's break it down together. I've been talking to you guys for the past 2 hours about some of these ICE facilities coming to Georgia and some of the issues surrounding them. One in particular in Social Circle, Georgia. We learned that a facility is supposed to be on its way, 10,000 beds. Remember, Social Circle only has a population of 5,000. So with these added 10,000 potential detainees, that would triple the population. So then the question there, according to city leaders, is how on earth are our residents supposed to continue to function on their day-to-day? Our infrastructure may even be put to the test and really stretched and strained here. So how is that supposed to work? Well, they say they were supposed to have a meeting with the Department of Homeland Security to talk about this kind of stuff on Friday at 2 p.m. They say no one ever showed up to that meeting. Well, I just heard from our digital team, who's been working really, really hard on trying to get you guys some answers in this case, that the Department of Homeland Security has responded. And they say the person that was supposed to go to that meeting, according to according to Social Circle officials, they were supposed to meet with the Deputy Chief of Staff. The Department of Homeland Security says it does not have a Deputy Chief of Staff. And so we're reaching back out to find out who exactly Social Circle officials were supposed to meet with, because if this was just miscommunication, that is a completely different story than, quote unquote, the DHS has skipped out on a meeting surrounding this new ICE center. That raises some eyebrows, some concern. And so we're giving them a chance to be able to respond, and then we'll be able to bring you guys the latest. But again, this is all interesting, and literally within the last couple of minutes, I got that update for you all on this story. But that is not the only ICE facility making its way to Georgia. We also know out in Oakwood, there was a protest where residents wanted to express their disdain for the potential facility coming in that'll cost about $100 million just to retrofit 2 warehouses out there in Oakwood in order to house this processing center for Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE. So 50 people showed up to the Oakwood City Hall out there. They had their picket signs. They were chanting, had a couple of different things they wanted to say. This detention center would potentially hold 1,400 to 1,600 people. So it's a lot smaller than that facility out in Social Circle. But still, residents say that it's, 15 to 1,600 people too many. We heard from some people on the grounds who said that they were upset because this facility would be so close to some schools. One woman says that her children go to school within a mile radius of this. She also says her daughter attends dance lessons right across the street. She doesn't want her children to be exposed to the types of things that could or could not happen at a detention center. So we talked to the city manager. He says that he has not heard from the Department of Homeland Security or ICE regarding the new facility, so he's feeling not so great about it. But on the other side of things, we also talked to U.S. Representative Andrew Clyde, who is a very much so a proud supporter of that new ICE facility. He says, and I quote, "North Georgia knows the horrors of illegal alien crime all too well. I fully support President Trump in protecting American citizens by detaining and deporting criminal illegals from our communities. The new Oakwood ICE facility will play an important role in this fight by serving as a regional processing center. In addition to assisting ICE's mission and mass deportations, the forthcoming facility will also bring a major economic investment to the city of Oakwood and surrounding communities. Based on ICE's economic impact analysis, track record, and unwavering commitment to protecting the American people, I am confident that the Oakwood ICE facility will be a safe and prosperous addition to the 9th District." Again, ICE and the Department of Homeland Security did not respond to our request for comment on this particular facility. So that's the latest that I have there on that. But what I can tell you is the Hall County's ICE facility, of course, Oakwood is in Hall County. It could close within the next 2 weeks as a warehouse and reopen and be operational within the next few months as an ICE detention center. So those are 2 facilities I wanted to make sure you were aware of here in Georgia and what's the latest on them, people who want them, the people who don't, and what's supposed to happen in the near future. Last but not least, we have been talking about this man who lost his life during a police chase. And according to officials, they were chasing an individual who had a tinted license plate cover. And while they were chasing that individual, they say that person slammed into 59-year-old Terry Lohman, who was just 2 blocks away from his home. That driver did not stop. They kept going. Police continued their chase. Eventually, they lost track of that suspect. Still to this day, they are not sure who that person is, but they're hoping that someone out there, based on the car description I'm about to give you, may be able to identify that person. So they're looking for a black Mercedes. You're taking a look at there on your screen. The license plate is BLK 63. It's a sedan. They're hoping anybody recognizes that license plate number, that car, and may know who could have been involved in this, and hopefully bring that person to justice. Now, the gentleman, the Terry Lohman, the 59-year-old who lost his life, his family is reeling right now. They're calling for justice. They want to know who did this, why. And actually, the brother who talked to us here at Fox 5 Atlanta said, and I quote, when he was talking about the suspect, "They will get you, they will hunt you down like the dog you are, and you will pay for my brother's death." They say that Terry was a jokester who loved life. He loved to make other people laugh. And though he was 59, he was the youngest of 3 boys. He was the father to 3 of his own children. And they say he didn't deserve to die. So again, the details of that chase, just in case you know something, February 12th is when they believe this happened. It was around 8:45 p.m. DeKalb County police officers, they were conducting a typical run-of-the-mill traffic stop. The person did pull over, but they abruptly fled during that traffic stop. Police went ahead and tried to follow him or her. That initiated a pursuit. During the pursuit, the suspect's vehicle was reportedly involved in a collision with 59-year-old Terry Lohman. He did not make it there at the scene. That person kept going. Police continued the chase. Unfortunately, we do know that they eventually lost sight of the suspect, so there has not been arrest. But if you know anything at all, you can make sure that this person is put behind bars. Police ask that you contact them immediately. Again, this is a black Mercedes-Benz, a sedan, has a Texas license plate number BLK 63. If you know something, call 706-624-1484. All right, you guys, still ahead. Want to talk to you about the latest in the search for Nancy Guthrie. We are finding out some new information based on Fox News and their reporting. I also want to talk to you guys about Homeland Security, and maybe we'll even get into TikTok, because there's a new feature coming that's supposed to help make sure that you are more in tune with what is happening around you. We'll talk about that when we come back. Hey guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. I'm Judea Murray. I want to talk to you guys about the latest in the search for Nancy Guthrie. She's the 84-year-old mother of Savannah Guthrie. You probably know her from the Today Show. She has been missing now for 10 days. And unfortunately, we just heard that even though the search ramped up last night, we are hearing that there have been no arrests yet. So we're still trying to figure out what in the world happened to Nancy Guthrie. Where is she right now? I can tell you there have been no arrests made. So the latest that we've gotten from Fox News, the sheriff says they have not made any arrests, and the 3 people that they detained last night in connection with her disappearance, they try to get them in for questioning. All 3 of those people have been released. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos told Fox News' Matt Finn that no one was arrested, no one remains in custody. This is all out in Tucson, Arizona, where we know Nancy went missing. Now, last night, the video that you're taking a look at there was a quote-unquote major operation underway. We know that one person was taken into custody in the parking lot of a Culver's restaurant. The car that they were utilizing or had some sort of connection to was towed at the time. We also know that, know that this all taking place, there was a search warrant for a home on Friday night that was just about 2 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's home. So with all of these details, it sounded like we were making some major headway in this case. And then a couple of minutes ago, less than an hour ago, we heard from the Pima County Sheriff that actually, no, we still don't have any more answers than we started out with here in this case. But the FBI did release a description of the suspect they do believe they are looking for. They think it is a male who stands somewhere between 5'9" to 5'10". He has an average build and was seen carrying a 25-liter Ozark Trail hiker backpack. Now, they've gotten all of this information from some surveillance camera footage that was released. They were able to go back through the doorbell camera that was on Nancy Guthrie's home. And in some of the video, you can see a person come up and kind of mess with the camera, eventually disabling it. So there's still some images that we don't have from this case, stuff that wasn't able to be captured. But from what they were able to recover, that's the description they have of that person. Right now, they still have not publicly named any suspects, any persons of interest. Right now, they're just telling us 3 people were detained, 3 people have been released. Not much more than that. But if we hear anything else, we will definitely try to bring it out to you right here live on Fox 5 News Live. All right, in addition to that, the other couple of things that I wanted to talk to you about, let me check my notes real quick to make sure we are still on task here. Homeland Security shutdown begins. You need to know a couple of things about what's happening here. This is the shutdown that potentially impacts TSA workers. We know that some TSA agents are currently working without pay, and there are going to be a couple of different officials, agencies that won't be able to operate in the same capacity while that funding for Homeland Security has been potentially paused, stopped. So unlike the record 43-day shutdown that we saw before, this is a little bit different. Closures narrowly confined, so it's not going to be all across the board. Remember, we saw the CDC was without work for quite some time. Of course, we knew about TSA, but the big thing was the air traffic controllers, which would definitely impact your ability to make it through the airport. Some of those things have changed, so this is not what we're talking about here. We also know that immigration, customs enforcement, customs and border protection will be affected. But depending on how long the shutdown lasts, some federal workers could begin to miss some paychecks. So services like the airport screening, that's going to be impacted. Could suffer if the shutdown drags on for weeks. So if you got a trip coming up, you could end up being in security for hours. What we saw last time around was that after those agents stopped being paid, some of them stopped showing up for work. And, you know, in a sense, understandably so. How do you feed your family if you're not making money? But the other thing I do want to tell you all is when these people are furloughed, it is not that they will never receive the money, that they're just completely working for free. It is that when the funding comes back, when the government is fully reopened, then they'll have to get back pay. And we also know that some people are still recovering from that financial impact of that last shutdown. So it's definitely impacting those people greatly while they're still reeling from it. But some of the agencies that are impacted, I mentioned ICE, potentially, Secret Service, Federal Emergency Management Agency, which isn't great if there were to be a natural disaster or a hard storm hitting some area or another, that's impacted. And then, of course, like I said, TSA. Vast majority of the employees at the Secret Service and the U.S. Coast Guard will have to continue their work, although they could also miss a paycheck depending on how long this particular shutdown lasts. Republicans have pointed out that the work of ICE and the Center for Border Control will mostly continue during a shutdown, but the Democratic demands for changes at some of those agencies, they're kind of hoping that this will put a pause or at least make it a little harder for those people to do their jobs. So there's a lot more that we could say here. We've got articles on all of this stuff if you'd like to take a deeper dive in and learn a little bit more. But I do want to move on to another story. A lot of you guys use social media. A lot of you guys are watching me right now on TikTok. Well, TikTok says they will be introducing what they're calling local feeds. So how does that work? TikTok wants to use precise GPS location data from you. They will customize localized content related to like small businesses. So maybe you live near a brand new, okay, we'll use coffee for example, brand new coffee shop that just opened and they need a little bit of business, they will be able to kind of market to you. Also, if an influencer, I don't know, takes a trip about an hour away from you and wants to show you some staycation ideas, that kind of content will come in your feed. Now, it'll be available to you as a separate tab. So, you know, you've got your For You page, your friends following, whatnot. You'll also have a local tab that you can click on and check out some of this stuff here. Now, you do have to go back through and activate the feature. Again, once you do that, you'll see that tab on your home screen. TikTok does say if the feature is off, they will not be collecting your GPS location. Now, when I heard all of this, that kind of piqued my interest and made me think that soon we should probably have an interview with a data expert, privacy expert, or maybe just somebody who knows a little bit more about some of this behind the scenes stuff with the settings on your phone, can talk a little bit more about this setting on TikTok, how that may affect some of the data that you don't even know you're giving out. I think that would be really interesting. Let me know if you guys want to hear that. But TikTok also says their local feeds will not be available to minors. And that was interesting to me. I want to know the reasoning behind that, if they're expecting that maybe some sensitive content could come and pop up in this tab. I'm not quite sure. But that's the latest that I have there on that. I wanted to make sure you were aware, especially if you are watching on TikTok right now. That's something that's new that could come to your app in just a little bit. All right, still ahead. It is Valentine's Day. Maybe you want to make some plans, but maybe you didn't plan ahead. Don't worry about it. I've got some ideas for you. We'll take a scroll down Fox 5's Things to Do page and maybe bring you some ideas, whether you want to plan a Galentine's, you want to get out with the girls, or you wanted to plan something for a loved one. We'll have some last minute ideas for you when we come back. Hey guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. I'm Judea Murray. I want to run through 5 ideas for you if you're looking for something to do this Valentine's Day. You want to get out there. We've got an article up on our website. It's called Valentines, events, opportunities, whatnot for you around town. Joyce Lupiani, she works on the digital team. She put this article together. Oh, this is scrolling by so quickly, but just in case, I'll slow it down for you all. Let me tell you a couple of ideas that you could get into. So outside of the perimeter, I just saw one. Hapeville has a historic walking tour. So if you or your loved one is a history buff, this might be a great idea for you. There's a free one-guided walking tour that's presented by the Hapeville Depot Museum. This is taking place February 14th. So today at 1 p.m. You still got some time to plan ahead for it. You got about an hour to get yourself ready and get out there if you'd like to do it. This is a 1-mile tour that explores Hapeville's history through quote-unquote a romance-themed lens. It also highlights some landmarks, local landmarks, and some of the love stories that have taken places in some of these cool different areas around town. All right. I told you guys about Planet Fitness. Maybe you and your loved one have some plans to get in shape together this year. Well, today and tomorrow, you can bring a guest for free to work out with you. Plus, you'll have some access to massage chairs and hydro massage. And I was saying before, if you have never used the hydro massage chair, it is like heaven on earth. All you need is to be 18 years old or older with a valid ID. This is free for a limited time. Also, let's scroll down. Your third spot. Maybe you've been there before. It's really fun. It's kind of like Dave & Buster's, but it's in West Midtown. It's also huge. Your third spot is turning Valentine's Day into an all-day celebration. They're going to have a daytime brunch. They're going to have games followed by a 21 and up only event. It's curated with some date night packages for you, champagne toast, interactive stations, and a 7-course premium tasting menu. You do have to make some reservations. The packages are available for you online if you'd like to take a look at there. All right, so far I have given you 3. At the Town at Trilith in Fayetteville, love, according to them, takes center stage at the Town at Trilith with a walkable Valentine's Day celebration, bringing together shops, restaurants, entertainment venues for an inclusive night out. So it's designed for friends, couples, groups. It's an evening that will be basically celebrating specials, pop-ups. You'll have, of course, your pink cocktails, live music, and interactive and photo-worthy moments throughout the town. So if you love to take pictures, that's probably a really good option for you. And then last but not least, maybe you got a golfer on your hands. Putt Shack Atlanta and Putt Shack Dunwoody are both offering some mini golf. They'll have shareable plates, Valentine's Day themed cocktails, including the Love Potion. And today, guests will receive a buy one, get one free game card for a future visit. So nice to get out there. You'll get something out of it. Maybe have a couple of drinks. Be able to golf with your loved one. It's going to be really cute. And also, if you want to take the kids out, that might even be a nice idea. When I was growing up, my mom and I were each other's Valentines. It's kind of cute, but we'd take like little date nights together. So that would be something that would have been like right up my alley as a kid. So a lot of different options for you all. One personal one, yesterday I went to, I'm trying to remember the name of it. It was like a concert under the stars, and it took place at the Atlanta History Center. They're not going to do it again until March, but I want you to plan ahead because it was actually really cool. So they sang, they had a live band, and everything was quote unquote under the stars. It kind of looked like you were in the planetarium. Like you look up, there was a giant moon, and then there were stars all around the room. It was really, really cool. And then the theme of the day for all their music and whatnot was Motown. So if you love old school music, you love the Jackson 5, love Stevie Wonder, you love the Supremes, all that stuff, that would have been a really cool one. They have a bunch of different themed shows for you all. Tickets were relatively priced, so you don't have to spend too much to have an incredible time. And when I tell you the performers are Chef's Kiss, amazing. Definitely would recommend it to anyone. So again, I believe it was called Concerts Under the Stars, and it took place at the Atlanta History Center. When it let out, we were all able to explore the museum itself, which has a lot of exhibits that I didn't know about. One in particular went over the history of the MARTA, and maybe that sounds boring to you, but maybe it sounds really cool to you. For me, it was awesome. So a couple of different ideas for you if you want to get out and plan something, not just for Valentine's Day, but maybe for a date night ahead. All right, want to talk to you a little bit more about the city of Brookhaven. They are offering some free weddings. So if you got a loved one, you want to tie the knot, you guys are ready, and you've already got a Georgia state marriage license, this is for you. They said that you can get married for free. All you have to do is book by Friday, February 20th. You got a week. By 5 p.m. You want to put your name on the list. You've got your marriage license. All you got to do is RSVP online. We actually have a list of different things that you need to keep in mind, a graphic for you all. So this, of course, is the weekend. If we could pull up that graphic, this is the weekend for couples to celebrate their love. It might be the perfect time for you to tie the knot. Again, Friday, February 20th is your deadline at 5 p.m. to put in for it. You can be married by Friday, February 27th at 3 p.m. You don't have to spend a dime. You don't have to be a Brookhaven resident. All you got to do is have a Georgia marriage license, and you have to make sure that you respond in RSVP online. Last but not least, the Mega Millions jackpot rises again. Are you in it to win it? The only way you can be is if you get a ticket. No one matched all of the numbers in the Mega Millions on Friday night, but we do know there's going to be another drawing Tuesday, February 17th, that'll happen at 11 p.m. By that time, this Mega Millions will be worth at least $395 million, or if you take the cash option, $183.3 million in cash. So last night, the lottery drawing, it was 34, 40, 49, 59, 68, and of course the Mega Ball was 1. You're looking at the numbers there on your screen. While I did tell you no one matched all of the numbers, you may have some of them, so you may be able to get some money. So check your tickets. That's a big one coming up for you all. All right, still ahead, I want to bring back our meteorologist to check on the weather. I just told you some ideas for you to get out and about on the town for Valentine's Day, but now we need to know a little bit more about the weather. Will it hold? Will you be able to do what you want to do tonight? We'll talk with Alex Forbes when we come back. Hey guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. I'm Judea Murray. I wanted one last check-in at our weather forecast with Alex Forbes, our meteorologist.
It's cloudy. It's going to rain tonight, then warm this week. Back to you.
No, I still need you here, Alex. We got to break it down. We got to go more in depth. What can people expect, especially if they've got a date tonight?
So things have warmed up from this morning, right? We started in the 40s and 30s. Well, now we're all closing in on 60 here across the metro. That's what happens when you get the southerly breeze. And even Blairsville and Dalton, right? Already over that 50-degree mark. 51 in Gainesville, 55 in Athens, 59 in Eatonton, and 61 over in Thomaston at this hour. Fox 5 Live Viper remains quiet, but we're continuing to watch this developing system back off to the west. Storm's about to push into DFW. And notice how those streamlines are coming in off the Gulf up into Texas. That is feeding the moisture as we work our way through the day today, and that's what's going to arrive in north and central Georgia later this evening. So a severe weather day down to the south and west. Tomorrow, that's going to be down to the south for us. In fact, we have a level 2 in place for parts of southern Georgia. This is going to be really from Tifton down towards the state line, down towards Valdosta, but includes St. Simons, Brunswick, down towards Amelia Island, Jacksonville included in that, Gainesville. Notice Daytona Beach tomorrow. We got a little race down there. And
just a little one.
Yeah, very small. A level 1 severe weather risk down there. So that goes from New Orleans over to Savannah, down to Orlando and Tampa, basically the I-4 corridor. Now, for the remainder of the afternoon here in the metro, expecting it to be mostly cloudy. Temperatures here in the mid-60s for the next little while. And then we'll begin to cool through the 50s. And then that's it. We're not really going to cool much more through the overnight thanks to the rain beginning to move in. 63 in Atlanta today, 62 in Covington, 63 over in Eatonton, 61 in Dalton, and 64 over in Rome. So here comes the shower and storm activity into the night tonight. There we go, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 a.m. Some scattered showers for the mid-morning hours with the bulk of that heavier rain pushing through, say, maybe around noon. A couple rumbles of thunder, but no severe weather with it. And then we do see a couple of showers linger into Sunday night before we begin to dry out into President's Day. Still not amounting to a whole lot of rain. Need several inches to put a serious dent in this drought situation. And no, that's not what we're doing for Sunday. But we will have several opportunities through spring, which is still 34 days away. Officially, according to the astronomers. And over the next 7 days, it is going to be feeling like it with temperatures in the upper 60s, low 70s, even mid 70s there for Thursday and for Friday.
Okay, Alex, I have to pick your brain because there are a couple of things that I saw throughout your forecast, and then we've gotten some headlines throughout the day that are making me think, okay, we should probably touch base.
Okay.
So first, you brought up Daytona. This potential rain level 1.
Don't think it's a washout down there, but look, if that track is wet, then they've got to go dry it.
Yeah.
So,
which we have seen before. They will literally take time off, make sure that it gets dry before they can, with good conscience, send drivers out there.
Yeah. I mean, there have been washouts before. I don't expect that to be happening this weekend.
Okay. NASCAR fans everywhere are like, yes.
Now, that doesn't mean no delays.
Yeah, well,
I think that could be a possibility. But in terms of like a rescheduling to Monday, I don't think that one's in the cards.
Okay. And of course, we'll be telling you more about Daytona 500 in a little bit. But the next question I have for you, we learned with Homeland Security funding being out on that, FEMA may be affected. So we're just looking at storm potentials across the U.S. Is anybody expecting a really bad? Okay, no. So it doesn't necessarily impact them.
Well, and it's worth noting with the FEMA thing, from a federal standpoint, there will not be any disruption to FEMA services to people who need FEMA services.
Okay, all right. Well, that is good to know. That's good to know. Like I said, we've just been keeping up to date with everything. And while I had you here, I was like, yeah, we should probably ask them. So thank you for giving us our forecast. You guys get out there, love hard. It'll be a great date night for you if you want it to be. I want to get you a live look out at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Alex, thanks for our forecast. Remember, you guys, we are talking a little bit more about this partial shutdown, what that means. We do know that TSA agents at the airports across the U.S. are required to work without pay. They are said to be essential workers. And so, yes, they are still reporting for duty. This is all new, by the way, so maybe that's why you haven't heard anything about it just yet. But the Department of Homeland Security's funding did run out. The Congress is going to have to come to some sort of agreement to keep them funded so that the other agencies that we are hearing about can continue moving on with regularly scheduled programming. So again, TSA is one of those agencies that is impacted right now. We know that they are expected to work without pay because they are believed to be essential workers. This is while we're still waiting on an agreement on Homeland Security's annual funding. Now, TSA officers worked through the record shutdown that ended on November 12th, but aviation experts say that this one could potentially play out differently. So here's what you need to know. Here's how you plan ahead. Funding, that expired at midnight. That's why I said it is still very much so new. The rest of the federal government is funded through September 30th. So not as many agencies that were impacted the first time around will be impacted this time. For example, air traffic controllers employed by the Federal Aviation Administration, they don't get their money through the Homeland Security. They're going to be receiving their paychecks as usual, which reduces the risk of widespread flight cancellations. So if you do have a vacation coming up, a business trip, you should still be in the clear, but potentially you could see some delays. So what do? Make sure you get to the airport early. Plan ahead. Plan to be delayed just in case. Also, make sure you've got your flight app on your phone. You're checking online. You're seeing if your flight for the day could potentially be delayed before you even leave the house. Now, during past shutdowns, disruptions to air travel tended to build over time, not overnight. So that's why people are saying we might not see many changes now in the next couple of days. Hopefully this ends in the next couple of days. But with people not getting their money, we may start to see people not showing up to work. Not showing up to work means more time for you in line because there are going to be more people and less help. Now, again, the impact on travelers, it is that they're telling you to arrive early, allow some extra time to get through security because you are certainly going to need it. Airlines may decide to delay departures in some cases to wait for passengers to clear screenings, but that's not a across the board rule of thumb. So just make sure that you're doing yourself a service and just get to the airport early. We have some more information about this, including how long will the shutdown potentially drag on our website. So if you'd like to read an article and get up-to-date information, that's available both on the Fox Local app and fox5atlanta.com. All right, let's skip ahead. Earlier, I was sitting around with our reporter, Kim Luffler. She talked to us about this domestic dispute that ended in a deadly police shooting, and we've got some video of that situation. You saw maybe yesterday the interstate I-20 eastbound lanes completely shut down during a high-speed domestic pursuit. So some people on the roads thought that this was potentially a road rage incident because, I mean, if you just look at the visuals, it was a chase. Someone got out of their car, presented a firearm, and so it kind of looked like road rage. But according to officials, they do believe that this was a domestic incident. They have identified the suspect that they were looking for as 52-year-old Jorge Navarez. He was shot and killed by police during this investigation. According to the GBI, they were called to that domestic dispute at around 2:25. During that time, investigators say that Navarez's wife and another person were trying to flee from him in a vehicle and that he had followed them. Multiple witnesses called 911 to report that possible road rage incident involving the two cars. Remember, I said visually, if you don't know all the details, that's what it appeared to be. Officers eventually found those two vehicles on I-20 eastbound just past the Post Road exit. Both cars came to a stop. Navarez exited his vehicle and supposedly brandished a firearm, according to the GBI. When Navarez walked towards his wife's car and whoever else may have been in the vehicle with him, two police officers opened fire. Navarez was pronounced dead at the scene, and his body is going to be transported to the GBI crime lab out in Decatur for an autopsy. Right now, we know that no officers were injured in this exchange. The shooting forced authorities to close down I-20, so if you were trying to get to home or work or wherever it may have been at around 2 o'clock yesterday, that is why the traffic was awful. Roads were shut down. This is the incident that was playing out at that time. Now, do want to let you know it's standard procedure for the GBI to investigate when an officer discharges their weapon here in Georgia. So any shooting involving police in Georgia will be investigated by the Georgia Bureau of Investigations. So that's the latest that we have there on that. But we did get to talk to a witness who saw all of this go down. I want to let you listen from their point of view of what they saw.
We see an individual hiding behind the vehicle, the other one holding a weapon. And then, I mean, next thing you know, the guy was laying on the ground, the one that was holding the weapon. Shots being shot around you, not the best feeling, not the best place you want to be on.
We actually got to talk to this person more in depth as well. So he kept going from the very beginning. He kind of explained how he didn't really want to be giving this interview, which I can imagine when you witness something so terrifying like this. But he did give us a firsthand account of everything that went down. I want to listen into a little bit of the rest of what he had to say.
So, I mean, we're going back from work, doing a roof inspection, so we have a local roofing company here. Came out from doing our job, going back to office, continue about our day. Going through the highway, next thing you know, 2 cars next to us, past us, telling an old lady that we first thought that they were playing,
What did you see and hear?
Pardon me?
What did you see and what did you hear?
So, I mean, I just seen them pass by. Next thing you know, the police, they showed up. They were actually at a point they started bumping to each other, getting off the emergency lanes.
2 cars?
2 vehicles, yep. And the police just pulled them over right about a mile ahead of us. And then next thing you know, we see an individual hiding behind the vehicle, the other one holding a weapon. And then, I mean, next thing you know, the guy was laying on the ground, the one that was holding the weapon.
So you don't know who fired and at who?
No, I didn't. I didn't really see that part. I mean, I just seen him. I just seen the guy that was laying on the ground.
Did you hear any shots?
Yeah, I heard. I mean, obviously.
What did you hear?
I mean, just a couple shots. I mean, I had the window rolled up. I can't make the sound, but some shots.
What was going through your mind when you were seeing this?
I mean, pretty much. I mean, it's shots being shot around you, not the best feeling, not the best place you want to be on, obviously, right? I mean, my situation is kind of special. I kind of grew up in a tough environment with a lot of that, so that kind of just brought me some flashbacks, and at a point I was pretty much scared,
How scary was this to see this?
I mean, I would say everybody that can witness somebody get shot might feel scared, very, very scared.
So very grateful for that witness there who gave us that account of what he saw happen. Again, a lot of people on the roadway thought that this was a road rage incident, but according to police, it was a domestic dispute involving a man and potentially his wife and maybe another person. So that's the latest that we have there on that. Still ahead, we'll be talking about some of our more hyper local news headlines, some of the things that are happening right now around you, some things you just might be interested in knowing more about, including some ICE facilities that are supposed to make their way to Georgia. We'll have more on that when we come back. guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. I'm Judea Murray. If you have been paying attention to what's going on with these ICE protests, you may be interested in this headline. There are some ICE facilities making their way to Georgia. Not everybody is excited about it. So let's start out in Social Circle, where we heard originally that the Department of Homeland Security allegedly skipped out on a meeting surrounding a new ICE center. So let me tell you the details first, and then I'll get you our latest update. Social Circle city officials say that they were supposed to have a meeting 2 p.m. on Friday with the Department of Homeland Security. They would be talking about this facility that's coming in that's going to have 10,000 beds. Again, this is a very big deal because Social Circle only has a population of 5,000 people. So if you added 10,000, you would essentially be tripling the population. Can the city's infrastructure handle that? That has been the big question. So some leaders, and they're both Republicans and Democrats, I mean, we heard from Mike Collins, we heard from Senator Raphael Warnock, both sides say that they don't believe the city of Social Circle can hold that many people. I mean, just based on their water and their sewage systems alone, it would be overwhelming. And so it can be assumed that the Social Circle officials thought that they would be talking to the Department of Homeland Security about some of their concerns. But they do say that on 2 p.m. On Friday, no one showed up to their meeting. They say they waited for about 45 minutes and they heard nothing. They say that they were given contact information for, I believe it's a deputy chief of staff, and heard nothing back. We reached out to the Department of Homeland Security trying to figure out how could something like this happen? What's going on with the meeting? Is there going to be another one? Well, first of all, the Department of Homeland Security says that they don't have a deputy chief of staff, so they don't know who the city of Social Circle had planned to meet on Friday, and that's potentially why no one showed up. And so we've reached back out to the city to get a little bit more information on who they thought they were supposed to be meeting with. And hopefully we can bring you that update later on in the news on Fox 5 Atlanta, or you can check our website, Fox Local. Our digital team is working proactively, like literally right now, to try to get that answer for you all. In the meantime, we know there's another facility also in Georgia, this one about an hour and some change north of Social Circle out in Oakwood, which is part of Fulton County. Some protesters have been rallying against ICE facility that could potentially open up in their area. This is a $150 million project. They would have to retrofit a warehouse that will be turned into an ICE regional processing facility. So 50 people gathered outside the Oakwood City Hall with signs, chanting. They all had their own qualms about what they felt would be a bad idea if they brought in this ICE facility. A couple of people said that they have children in the area, schools very close nearby, and they don't want their children exposed to seeing the kinds of things that maybe take place at a detention center. We know that that facility could potentially hold 1,400 to 1,600 people, and again would cost about $158 million in order to retrofit a warehouse to make it operational for ICE. Right now, I can tell you that the facility is expected as a warehouse to close in the next 2 weeks and then be operational under ICE's control in the next couple of months. So not quite sure if the protesters' voices were heard there, but not everybody is against the facility. We do know that Representative Andrew Clyde is very much a proud supporter of that facility, saying that North Georgia needs something like it in order to rein in on illegal immigration and some of the crime that he believes comes with it. We've also been telling you a little bit more about this man who was killed during a police chase, and according to police, that chase was over a license cover. Now, I want to be explicit. This man was not part of said police chase. He was somebody who was just in the area, a pedestrian. That car, it was a black Mercedes-Benz sedan. That's the car that police were looking for. They say they originally pulled this person over because they had some extra dark tints and then a tinted license plate cover. During that run-of-the-mill stop, they say the person got back on the road and fled, and they went after them, chased them. That person ended up hitting 59-year-old Terry Lohman with the front of their car. I do not know if this suspect is a man or a woman. That is the car that you're seeing there on your screen, has a Texas license plate BLK63. That is the car that they are trying to identify, hoping that maybe one of you out there listening to this right now, or somebody who saw this, maybe saw the story, maybe would have some more information. I can tell you a little bit more about that victim, though. 59-year-old Terry Loman. Even at 59, he was the youngest of 3 boys. He had children of his own. His family says he was just 2 blocks away from home at the time that this happened. So they're all just shocked. How in the world could something like this happen so close to home to somebody who had nothing to do with what was originally going on? We do know that this case is being investigated. They're even going into a deeper investigation on the chase itself. Again, hoping to maybe come with some information or come away with some information about that potential suspect. The family for sure wants justice. We actually got to interview the brother of Terry, and his brother said, and I quote, "They will get you. They will hunt you down like the dog you are, and you will pay for my brother's death." The Georgia State Patrol is now involved in this investigation. If you have any information, again, this is a black Mercedes-Benz sedan with a Texas license plate, BLK63. Tinted windows, may still have that tinted license plate cover. If you have any information at all, you're urged to call police immediately at 706-624-1484. I'll give you the number one more time. It is 706-624-1484. Last but not least, I want to close out with this search for Nancy Guthrie. We know that it ramped up overnight, and we have recently learned that there were no arrests so far in this investigation. You're actually taking a live look right now at a drone that is flying over her house out in Tucson, Arizona. So last night, there was this major operation underway where we know that police ended up detaining 3 people. One person in particular taken from a Culver's restaurant in the parking lot. The car that that person was associated with had been identified and then towed away. Well, at this point in time this morning, we learned from Fox News and from the Pima County Sheriff that's out there in Tucson, Arizona, that all 3 of those people released. So the only information that we have right now, which unfortunately is actually very disappointing at this point in time, because Nancy's been gone for 10 months. I mean, not 10 months, 10 days. 10 days now. But knowing that no one's remaining in custody, we don't have any more information, we don't have a name for a suspect, is, like I said, all pretty disappointing at this point in time. Hoping that soon we can get you guys some more. What I can tell you, though, they've got a description of a suspect based on some surveillance camera video that was taken from Nancy Guthrie's home. She had a doorbell camera that was able to show a man, they believe someone between 5'9" and 5'10", with an average build, coming up and messing around with that security camera before it was disabled, disarmed in some sort of way. And so we don't get to see the rest of what played out, but they did recover that video. So the FBI is increasing its reward for any information that could lead to finding Nancy, finding that suspect, and bringing someone to justice. It's $100,000 for any information that you may have or someone you know. The search has already entered its 2-week mark. And remember, I did tell you it's been 10 days now that Nancy Guthrie, the mother of today's show host, Savannah Guthrie, has been missing. We've heard a couple of statements from the family themselves. They are very much so holding on to the hope that Nancy is still out there somewhere and alive, and that they will get her in one piece, safe home at some point in time. Again, unfortunately, the sheriff says that there have been no arrests, no named suspects in this case. Right now, we're just waiting to hear the latest. Hopefully, maybe we'll get some more information today. But again, I just want to bring you back out to that live drone that is flying over Nancy's home. You're taking a look at it there. It has been flying around the neighborhood, but eventually it'll show Nancy's home again. This, as that search ramps up, but kind of goes cold this morning. You can actually see the media staging. You see those tents on the ground and all of those cars. That's the media staging area where we will hopefully be hearing from some reporters later on in the day. So thank you for joining me. I'm Judea Murray. It's been my pleasure to bring you the latest news all across Georgia, the U.S., and even a couple of international stories. We know the news will continue, so stick with us. We also have a lot more content available for you on the Fox Local app, so don't go anywhere. Another show begins right after this.